today for a short video, I hope. I don't like to do videos like this. I shouldn't have to do some, but it's unfortunate that somebody that I actually had some respect for and some what I thought was mutual respect, Larkin Rose, has decided, well, it turns out that the respect is not mutual. That he unleashed a torrent of insults against me when I just made a friendly request and an invitation to come on my show, which, as you see, he's been on more than a few times, and we've always had good, friendly discussions. So it turns out that the respect was not mutual. The lack of respect, though, is now mutual, and that's why because he insulted me, I'm cutting toxic people out of my life. There's no reason for me to have personal communication or interaction with people who are insulting. So I do my best to clear those people out. And there's no reason. I'm not friends with Larkin. I thought we had a professional relationship, of colleagues in that sense. But it was a one-way street. Larkin just puts up, at least with me, he was feigning respect for whatever reasons. But I do want to address the crap that he has put on Facebook about me. And so I had this picture. And I didn't take the picture with Larkin in mind, but it turns out it is a perfect representation of Larkin's arguments on more than one level. One, it's trash, and so that's what his arguments are. But then on a deeper level, it's a great visual example of his actual claims against me and against veganism, as we'll go through. So I just briefly, before I explain that, I want to point out too, Larkin has a very simplistic type of way of arguing or debating. And so when he doesn't have a good rational argument, which he never presented an ethical argument for needlessly killing animals, he thinks it's ethical to needlessly kill animals, but he doesn't give a reason why other than to say that I'm a hypocrite. We're all hypocrites. But not ethical to kill a gorilla, but it is ethical to kill a pig. So anyway, this is a visual example of his trashy argument, if you could call it an argument. And so here, I don't know anybody. The garbage was brought to this store because that particular store, fast food place, is not in this parking lot. It was brought from several miles away. So you see, they just dumped it on the ground, even though there's a trash bin right in front, and they had to walk past it to get into the store because what you see in the middle of the video, the picture, there's only one entrance to the store. You either go through there, or if you work, you go through the back. So there are also one on each side of the door. There's two more trash bins. Now, they had to walk past 3 trash bins in order to get in the store, but they still dumped it on the floor anyway. That is a perfect example of the bad form of Larkin's actual claim against veganism, or me in particular. It's doing something that is wrong. You could have avoided it, but you didn't. So this is a dick move. And anybody who wants to say that this is okay, you've got real problems. And it's sort of like Larkin in that he wasn't interested in an argument or a friendly discussion on his actual position and then have me argue and ask questions with him. He just wanted to be right and rant for 28 minutes. Well, the video, and I don't recommend watching it. But even though straw man is his go-to thing, I'm going to have the actual screen cap, so you'll see his actual words. Now, he may delete that, but I have the screen caps for now. So until he deletes it, if he does, and I don't know if he will, that's speculation, you'll be able to see that everything here is accurate and that I'm not strawmanning anything. So I will address his arguments, his position, and I will address his questions. But if he's going to straw man it and whatnot, let him scream and rant and rave. But rational adults will be able to see through his really flimsy tactics. So let's go through them one by one. Okay, so let's start first by getting Larkin's position actually correct so we know what his position is. This is not an argument, but this is his position, which he does not actually support, other than to accuse me of being a hypocrite and a liar and dishonest and whatnot. He says, yes, I would. As I answered Mark before, no, I don't think it's automatically immoral to eat an animal, even if I could live without doing so. On the other hand, he is very conspicuously not answering a very similar question. I just didn't respond to Larkin there because he's just unhinged. He just is disrespect. He's just insulting. So that's why. But I'm responding. I'll be responding now. He also says, Nathan, yes, as I've said before, I do pay other people to raise and kill animals that I then eat, even though I could survive without doing that. See how easy it is to answer a simple question. Okay, so that's his actual position, which does come up again. Okay, so here Larkin is saying I kill things. Now he's avoiding the issue, and he says you kill things merely for your own convenience and for your own preferred style living. So does everyone. Denying something that simple is and obvious makes a debate pointless. Now he has had a torrent of responses, and I'm not on Facebook that often, so he thinks that I'm avoiding him. So knowing that I could have like 99 plus notifications and I may not see his, I instant message him. So I said I instant message because of how many responses there are, and you didn't respond there. Again, you claimed it was not ethical to kill. It was not unethical to kill and eat animals despite not having to meet your nutritional needs. I've repeatedly stated I'm not looking for a debate, but instead an argument so we can both better understand each other's position. I have not seen you post an ethical argument for unjustified killing. I haven't seen it up until that time, and I'm not going to scroll through to try to find it. He says, I like to hear that argument during a show in real time. So the point to be discussed is your, as of yet, undisclosed ethical argument for the unjustified killing of animals. And so he doesn't actually respond by presenting his actual argument. He goes on to he goes on to start being insulting. You kill living things, and a lot of them unnecessarily, just for your own convenience and to serve your preferred style of living. Pretending you don't, or pretending you hold some principled position against that is a lie. So I counter that, and that he's conflating convenience with unavoidable. He says it's not unavoidable. It's merely convenient for you. Stop lying. I commit widespread slaughter in many ways that would absolutely be avoidable, and you are not at all necessary for your survival. So do I. See, what Larkin is doing here is just a classic example of a red herring or an ad hominem or an appeal to hypocrisy. Where an appeal to hypocrisy is really when you avoid engage in an argument or a discussion where you're criticized, and you answer criticism with criticism. So I know he answered this, and he thinks it kind of gets him out of this hole, because he's saying that he says, I'm not pointing to just your hypocrisy, but I'm saying we're all hypocrites. But it doesn't help his position out any when he's trying to make an ethical or avoiding making an ethical argument for needlessly killing and eating animals. Saying that we're all hypocrites does not make his argument. And so he can rant and rave and yell straw man and whatnot. Just because you answer a criticism with a criticism, and that is a broad criticism on everybody, doesn't make his argument any more sound. So it's just a bad argument. And yeah, I know he disagrees with that, but he answered a criticism with criticism. Or when I ask him for his argument that it's ethical to kill and eat animals when he knows and says that he doesn't have to, by turning around and saying that I slaughter animals needlessly, or because there's 2 points to this. We got the fallacy, and then he's got his facts wrong. But for him to turn around and say that I'm a hypocrite and that I'm pretending and I'm lying, that I'm not just it's not unavoidable, I go out of my way and I do it out of convenience, that does not help his position one iota. It doesn't help it at all. It's still a garden variety appeal to hypocrisy. It doesn't help just because Larkin is ranting, but I'm not saying that Mark's just the hypocrite. I'm saying we're all hypocrites. And remember that picture of the trash, right? That's going to go a long way to also, visually representing how bad Larkin's argument is here. The other part of it is that he's actually turning around and saying that I'm being dishonest because I am needlessly and unnecessarily killing animals. Well, one, Larkin he presents some argument, some examples here. Driving unnecessarily. That's a part of modern life, and some of us don't have the option of not driving. So it's unavoidable. The fact I can't ride a bicycle to California, so it's not, it's not unavoidable. There are going to be, and even if there are some where it is avoidable, there is an ethical dilemma there. It does not defeat the original argument, though, that it is wrong to kill and eat animals when they pose no threat to you. So he also gives the example, eating vegetables grown by farmer who mass slaughters animals. I don't know if that's true. He presents no actual facts or studies. I've counted with studies that show that the estimates or the actual stats on how many animals are actually killed directly from vegetables is not nearly as high as Larkin thinks. And that's unavoidable. You're talking about your food source, and it is ethical to protect your food source, even if it's going out and deliberately killing an animal. So if there's a bear that's in my food source and I need the food to survive, it is ethically allowable and justifiable to get rid of the bear and kill them if necessary. The idea that you can't protect your food supply is really bad arguments from Larkin Rose, which that's what you get from Larkin Rose when it comes to this point. So that driving unnecessarily doesn't make any sense because I have no choice. Even if I get on public transit, there's still going to be animals killed. There's no avoiding it, and you have to travel. I can't walk. I mean, it's just a dumb argument. Then number 3, how do you or would you evict insect colonies? How would I if they got into I'm protecting my home. I live in Arizona, not quite Australia, but I live in Arizona. I had a 5-inch, I'll have to get a picture of, I had almost a 5-inch scorpion. That could kill one of the little kids that are at my home. So, yes, I would kill termites, of course, because termites can destroy my house. I need the shelter. It's not unavoidable. It's protecting my family. It's protecting my food. It's protecting myself from the elements. So I'm supposed to, you're so desperate to justify killing an animal and eating it needlessly, but you'll still have these stupid arguments. I could give plenty more. No, you couldn't, but I expect you would ignore and or dodge those too. No, the only one who dodges it because you're putting these stupid things up is you dodging the actual argument that you are supposed to put forth, since you believe that it is ethical and justified to kill an animal without justification, where it's not a threat to you, in order to pretend that you were abiding by.
Come up, Justin. Let's talk about it. Pussy.
Some clear, solid principle that meat eaters don't, but you aren't. Once again, that is avoiding the actual argument that he said. He said it's to kill and eat an animal when it's not justified to do so, when it's not a threat to you and it's not necessary for your health. So I've addressed all three of these stupid examples. It is not unavoidable. So regarding that, let's go back to the actual picture of the, and we'll use an analogy. Okay, so we'll use an analogy and show just how stupid this argument of Larkin's is. And remember, his argument is just to avoid putting forth an ethical justification or argument for needlessly killing an animal. And he admits he will kill or pay to have an animal killed that poses no threat to his life or anyone else's, and he doesn't need it for nutrition. He admits.
So what Larkin has been doing is that he prefaces his statements with, "Oh, not all vegans," but then he makes his argument against all vegans. Vegans. What just happened? Vegans do not claim to not kill anything. This is not something that is real. I would put good money. I've never seen a vegan I just respect everything. Every vegan understands that when they drive a car, they hit bugs. That when plants are grown, bugs are killed. We all know that. That's called incidental. It's an incident that happens. There's a difference between a plant getting a bug getting killed during a plant being grown and going up to a cow and cutting its throat. It's a completely different thing morally and objectively. It's a completely different. So, yeah. Come on, Justin. So when Justin Bedini and Larkin talk about dishonest vegans, they're said dishonest vegans. The definition of veganism is not person who doesn't kill any animals or bugs or bacteria or anything. That's not what we're saying. Therefore, when you say vegans are being dishonest, that is a lie. That is a fallacy. That's a fallacious statement. Vegans do not claim they do not kill anything. So if you, Justin Bedini or Larkin, tell me I'm dishonest because beings die for me to exist, it's a massive straw man. Because we're not saying that no beings die. We're saying we don't kill the big ones, the big sentient, highly sentient. We don't kill the animals you kill. We don't kill, we don't set out, we don't pay others to kill. We don't do any of these things. Sure, crop deaths exist, but by Justin Bedini's argument that plants are sentient, because these guys, Larkin and Justin, love the plant sentience straw man. Because we aren't saying we don't kill anything. We aren't saying that bugs don't die for our plants to be grown. If we were, Larkin and Justin would have an argument. But we don't. Go look at the definition of veganism. There's not tons of vegans out there saying that they don't kill anything. There's none. I've never seen one in decades. And then I was vegan in the 90s. Like, I've seen everybody say everything. I've never seen a vegan say that they don't know, that they think that they don't kill anything existing. Everyone has incidental deaths on their in their karmic inventory. Everyone has incidental deaths. Meat eaters, vegans, everyone. So it's even right there. Incidental deaths are not taken into consideration because everyone needs them to exist. Sure, I could go jump off a cliff and it would be super vegan, but that's not realistic. Larkin likes these unrealistic situations and these unrealistic arguments. But yeah, so no vegans are saying that they don't kill anything. So stop lying, you guys. That's not, even if vegans were saying that, it would be the lowest percentile of dumb people, like vegans that are just brain dead. And that's not who we are. That's not who we're talking about. That's not who's debating you guys every day. So why don't you come up with something good? You guys are the two smartest people in the world, you claim. Why can't you come up with a good argument against veganism? You have to straw man. And you claim, it's funny that you yell straw man so often because y'all are straw manning the whole argument you're having. Vegans don't claim to not kill anything. We understand that bugs and bacteria and plants die for our lives. They die for yours too. But you choose to pay people to kill more animals. We don't do that. And then the argument is, so Larkin and Pedini, their argument is, oh, plants and animals die, therefore you should eat more animals. Like, okay, how does that make any sense? And what the fuck do you care that I eat meat? So yeah, so every vegan should just eat meat because animals die because they exist. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's super dumb. Nope. Pedini's watching. He doesn't want to come up here because he doesn't have an argument to this stuff. So Larkin and Pedini, with their genius arguments, massive straw man. So the truth is, though, is that even if plant sentience, even if this is a legitimate thing, and Larkin and Justin Pedini are right, it doesn't make vegans wrong. We still have far less karmic inventory. We are still far more in line with natural law, aka freedom, aka anarchy. Far more in line than people who just needlessly, cowardly pay people to kill animals and then claim. And I love when these guys say that they're against factory farming, because that's a lie. You are not against factory farming, just like you're not against the government. You claim you're against the government with your elementary school libertarian basic entry level blame all my problems on the government. All my problems come from the government. It's all from the authorities. It has nothing to do with me being a shitty person. It's all the authorities cry about. Oh, I'm a victim. Everyone does things to me. Poor babies. Poor babies. And it's been funny because I've been a part of the movement since 2010. And I don't feel like anyone has progressed in that entire time. 15 years? Nobody has figured any of this stuff out. And everybody's still complaining about the government. and how the libs are ruining everything for everyone, when you haven't even worked on yourself yet. Like, how is your relationship with the world? Are you a positive on this planet, or are you a negative? It's as simple as that. Like, they lied to us. They lie to us. They lie to us about what the occult is. They lie to us about what Satanism is. They lie to us about all these things because they don't want us to figure out how to align ourselves with the world. Like I had one of the friends of the show hit me up yesterday, and they're just like, oh, they don't believe in karma, but they want to use the state to force people to be vegan. And it's like, if you don't believe in karma, then how do you justify being vegan and controlling people? Because if there's no karma and there's no morality, then nothing matters. Like, I don't get this coming from people that should know these things. It's because everyone's we're all fucking programmed. And sometimes it takes being 45 fucking years old till you figure things out. Becoming a man, like, you have to take care of yourself, and then you have to start taking care of others. That's what it means to be a man. You're supposed to go out after taking care of yourself, after being selfish and taking care of yourself. You're supposed to go out and help people. Hello. Like, not by making a bunch of content. So I don't understand how these people who have not changed, I've seen them not change in the least bit. They're still talking about the same shit. They're still talking about the same shit. Complaining, blaming the libs, blaming all the stupid people in the world, blaming government. And they have no internal monarchy. So where's Justin? Nowhere to be found. Where are these guys? They know we're making weekly videos about them. So where are they? They're fucking hiding because they're cowards. They know they don't have great arguments. That's why they hide. Just the mental gymnastics. It's mind-numbing mental gymnastics that we see from these guys week in, week out. Your karmic inventory is 3 times that of a vegan. So pointing out that plants are bad, plants are sentient, plants are bad. Pointing out plants are sentient is an argument for veganism. Justin Pedini, you absolute. Your karmic inventory is far more of it than of any vegan. That is facts. That is the fact of the matter. There's nothing you can say. You can't make a bunch of videos where people can't respond to you and just expect to be right. Where'd Pedini go? Hit him up, Braxton. So, and like all these so consequentialism. Where's Sunshine Lady? She's supposed to be here. I tagged her. These consequentialists have it wrong. They don't understand. Like, where's Carson? Carson, these guys all don't think natural law exists. They don't think that if they walk up to a cliff and jump off of it, they think that the cliff's going to be like, oh, we better stop this person from jumping off. Like the cliff doesn't care, dude. You're going to fall. You're going to die. What's up,
What
brother?
What's going on?
Waiting for someone to come up here.
You're on a roll, man.
Oh yeah.
Keep up the good work.
You know, it's funny because like in like 2011, like I had a lot of people trying to get me to get in, watch natural law videos and stuff like that, and I've we met on a show, where we were getting duped by some clown who didn't get it, who was claiming to get it. This clown was trying to get us. Hold on a second.
What show are you talking about?
Right here. Remember this clown right here?
Oh yeah, I've seen this show.
What does that mean for you?
Success is, being free, being able to do what I want to do
So,
every day.
remember the buff guy? For you?
Yeah,
This guy in the
being
white?
able to do
Yeah.
what you want, when you want, with whom you want, whenever you want to do it.
Remember, we used to hang out on a show, and the host would play this guy's videos and Andrew Tate videos.
No,
And then he'd talk about natural law. And like I didn't know enough about it back then to I knew it was wrong. I knew what he was talking about, and I did call him out quite well.
The natural law they're talking about is like the law of the jungle kind of shit, right? That dog eat dog world kind of thing.
Because they drop Mark's name all day long. So it's like
Really?
over on the Unslaved show.
Oh, Paul show?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh. I was gonna say I don't think Fresh and Fit would know anything about that.
No. Remember this?
You're talking about the
buff convict
guy
guy.
was okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we used to hang out on Paul's show, who's a guy who talks about natural law all the time, who's a vegetarian, eats pizza all day, was showing us this ex-con steroided out, dill hole, and was like pumping this guy up, and he was pumping Andrew Tate to us, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this is materialism, dude, at its worst. Like, how is, like I just, it boggles my mind. Like the ideas that people have, and it's just, so over the years, I've had a lot of people try and get me into Mark Pasco, and I was not ready. I don't get the cosmic shit. It seemed like new age shit to me, new age bullshit. I did get, he
has content. He has content to the contrary as well.
Well, yeah, correct. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that now.
The new age bullshit.
In my head, seeing it, listening to it for 10, 15 minutes, and then he's just kind of aggressive. But someone back in the day had sent me a couple of his videos. He gave me the natural law one, but I was like, no fucking way, that's 8 hours. I'm not watching that. And then he had the Power of 10, was pretty interesting, and a couple things on just like natural rights. Like some of his short videos, but I never got into him like you guys have already. And I've never really understood what spirituality is. The media lied to us about what Satanism is. It's not a bunch of people fucking worshiping fucking a pentagram, wearing all black clothes, listening to death metal. Like, that's not what Satanism is. That's not what it is. That's what they want us to think it is. So we're like, oh, that's not realistic. Satanism is fucking everyone fucking off and being individual. And like, and I remember when I was a kid.
Me.
When I was a kid, someone explaining Satanism to me and ethical hedonism, and me being all like, "Oh, that's cool, yeah," because I'm like, because I was kind of a black
Edgy
sheep
punk
of
rock.
society. Yeah, edgy heavy metal kids. So I was like, "Oh, that's cool," fuck everyone, just take care of myself. That's fine, there's nothing wrong with that. But no, there is something fucking wrong with that. That's why we are at the place we are now.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're at war still, and that's why factory farming is running rampant, and that's why people have zero communication skills and are having horrible times in life. We're supposed to be partying, dude. We're supposed to be having a good time, but everyone's fucking fighting. It's like, and school sets us up completely in the fucking wrong way. Just competing for that individual thing. And like back in the day, like, so watching all this shit now, I'm like, oh fuck, these are like my arguments, but they're just way better. I fucking wish I would have listened more back then, because I do, like I've been screaming at people about, fucking paying taxes and buying new cars in 2024, after we've been friends for 10 years and I've seen you say all this shit that I know the truth, but you aren't doing it in your real life. Like, and that's like all these people I've known on the internet for years. No one is talking about this shit. And so like now, after I just did a deep dive, no one has, I've only had 2 or 3 people talk to me about natural law in this whole time of meeting thousands and thousands and thousands of libertarians and like anarchists and stuff like that in the last 10, 15 years. Like coast to coast. Like I've been to Texas. I've been to fucking Washington, D.C. Like I was on Coast to Coast AM. Like I've done a bunch of shit. Alex Jones, like, like I've met tons of people. No one's talking about this shit because they have to work on themselves. Everybody's still stuck fucking blaming the government, blaming fucking taxpayers, blaming the normies, blaming the NPC, blaming the libs. It's all everyone else. And it's like, especially these carnists.
Yeah.
I tried letting them, like, talking to people about this shit the last couple of weeks. People are just all, the fuck are you talking about? We're supposed to be smashing the commies, and it's like, dude. Oh, and I just know I wasted so much fucking
It starts
time.
with smashing your mind control.
Back in the day. I wasted 15 years doing nothing, doing mediocre fucking activism because I didn't watch that shit back in the day because I wasn't ready. And like, like I tried to give it to John Bob the other day and he's like, fuck that. I'm not watching an 8-hour video. And it's just like, okay, well, that's where I was. I understand it. But that's because
nobody else has distilled this information down to that level. And unfortunately, it may be an 8-hour video, but we're lucky that it's been compressed into that. This kind of information takes a lifetime to process.
Yeah, I just watched it. I watched the first 4 hours 4 times, and then watched the second 4 hours 3 times. And I'm probably going to watch it all again one more time because it's that interesting and that relevant and makes that much fucking sense. And like, whatever, Mark has nothing to fucking do with it. Like all these people just like,
no,
it's funny.
He's just a person that's been able to put it all together for us.
Yeah. And I go, and I've been hanging out in his chat on the Sundays, and it's just these fucking demons, the same demons we've been dealing with, dude, like every day for years now. These fucking demons, dude. Like, why are you here, like cussing at this man, like frothing at the mouth? Like, is this what you have? What is your life? Like, what are you doing with your life? Like, and then and it's like, okay, so, and then people are like, oh, you're turning into like some like natural apostille guy. So it's like, okay, so you know enough to recognize that I've been watching these videos, but you don't know enough to have changed your fucking life because you're still a raging carnist dipshit, that's still crying about the government, and you're off, living in a fucking van somewhere, and it's like, dude, you know, this hiding and being by myself and leaving every, you know, like I got, you know, that's where my head was at before, you know. So
you know, he has a really good series breaking down the Matrix movies.
Yeah, sure.
And he did actually do part 4, and part 4, the core message is about people that want to escape the responsibility and just leave off, and you know, they want to bug out,
We've all
and
done it,
that
dude.
doesn't
We've
solve
all
the
done it.
problem.
We're all guilty of
Yeah.
it. We're
Yeah, we all,
guilty of it.
yeah, I
We're
mean, we talk
libertarian
about that
activists. We're
too.
fucking, you know, we're fucking get all high and mighty, these libertarians, you know, like, and none of these fuckers are doing shit. No one's doing shit. I've been to a couple of these events. No one's talking about natural law. No one's talking about changing their own lives. They're all talking about trying to make money and trying to like build communes and shit.
Yeah.
You know,
that doesn't make the problem go away.
there's fakers, dude.
That's
and
out of
fucking
sight, out of mind.
Yeah. And then it's like, you know, we've had 2 friends of the show drop off this last month because they're fakers. They're not doing what they're saying they're doing. It's like, it's one thing to sit there and post on Facebook all day and sound like a beast. But like, if you're just fucking off in life being a negative, what's the fucking point? You know, it's like all these dudes are such emo kids too. These dudes, you know, like we deal with, it's almost like I'm dealing with the same person online. It's like I'm having an argument with 3 of my friends and that's it, over and over again. It's like this same toxic shit of just like blaming everyone and blaming everything, just being like, oh, doomsday is coming, man. You know, you got your fucking kit together. And it's like, yeah, I've had my kit together since 2010, dude. Like, you're telling me I need to get ammo? Like, I've had my ammo's dusty, you know, like it's been sitting for 10 years. Like, you know, like this is old news, you know, like everyone's
still gonna work
on the first step, you know.
Yeah.
Everyone's still on the first step, and it's been 15 years and no one's doing anything. And the most,
this is why I feel for him. He's right. He's been putting out this material for 17 years and nobody's done shit with it.
I absolutely understand where he's at. Now that I've seen what happens in his chat and I see what happens just in the comments on my page, I would be fucking over it.
Yeah.
Even said it today.
I get it.
Today was a really good one because he's just like, he's all, fuck this team. He said that. He's all, this team sucks. I was like, whoa. Like,
yeah, they're like, we need to put out this fire, and they show up with a glass of water.
Yeah. And like everyone's just trying to do the same thing he's doing, and he needs people to do other shit. You got to figure a creative way of doing this. Like me and Allie are we're gonna play Fallout, but we're gonna play it using natural law. Fallout 4 New Vegas, or Fallout New Vegas.
Dude, some of that shit's pretty hard. I've seen the playthroughs of Skyrim as a vegan, and it's like impossible because everything has leather and shit.
Well, no, as a vegan, that'd be pretty.
There's some other vegans that have pointed out stuff like this too. Like Animal Crossing is very not vegan. You know, there's a lot of that shit.
And also, like, I started a series just since my kid's getting older. He's like a teenager now. I just started a series of doing like, and like a lot of kids follow me because of Hollywood Undead. I was doing a series called Uncle Shady's Life Tips for Kids, and then like, and adults in parentheses. And I was just kind of going to give like, kind of just like, hey, good advice, you know, good life advice, life hack, some shit like that. But obviously I could make it a lot more interesting and powerful if I, you know, involve the principles of natural law and shit in it.
Yeah, that's kind of like there's a couple of guys I feel like drop back from being so forward in the like liberty movement. Like Stefan Molyneux kind of took a back seat because he wanted to focus on teaching children principles of liberty to have them be like the next generation coming up that already knows this stuff from being raised that way. That's kind of a strategy. And then there's that guy, David Rodriguez. I know there's a lot of people that focus on the
D-Rod, yeah. Stefan,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Stefan, fuck, I mean, he ended up like trumping out, so he alienated 90% of his audience and screwed himself, and then begged for money too hard, just like all these clowns are doing. That people are just like, dude, like, you know, like, stop. And you know, once you go Trump, I mean, you're like, okay, so you're regressing back into the two-party paradigm. Like,
yeah, there's the credibility's gone.
That's what I'm talking about. It's like these dudes I've known for 10, 15 years, they've regressed the whole time. And like, I got through the simple shit in like 2 weeks, dude. Like, I was a minarchist.
It's because they're looking for an easy way out.
Yeah, because they don't want to do anything.
It's not happening, you know, it's not happening in their lifetime. So they're just like, well, I guess I'll just, you know, give in to the system and see what I can get to serve me while I'm here, instead of being principled.
So yeah, so one of the friends of the show, who ended up being like a harsh, almost like a ANCOM anti hierarchical anarchist.
Yeah.
And I heard a bunch of that being on that guy Carson's show with all these utilitarians. So I've been really wanting to get one of them to come up here so we can talk about it, but like, I don't know. Because like Jeremy understands that the seed, the shell of the seed, you have to actually give a shit.
Yeah, the care.
Like that sunshine lady, she came on here and she's just like, kill anyone who's of authority, you know, and it's like, whoa, hold on, like, where are these people getting these wild ideas?
That's not gonna last long.
Yeah, because especially you know, in anarchy land, the masculine of the group aren't gonna deal with that. You know, you're gonna get put down real quick if you're acting like that, just killing people because you think they're becoming of authority, when obviously hierarchies are created naturally and are good for the progress of a species. The good people, the people that are better at things, should be in charge of those things. So you know, like the whole anti-hierarchical thing is really cooperation. Really strange. Yeah. So like, you know, we got out to the desert and one of us thought they were going to run the show. You know, one of the people who had the least invested in the whole thing, he thought because we were a group and this is anarchy, that his word, his opinion was as high as anyone else's. And I was like completely baffled by that, because this person had been pretty principled up until this point, and like pretty, like, I was always impressed when this person talked about this stuff, because I didn't expect that they knew that much. But then this whole hierarchy, you know, everything shared, this sounds like commie shit, bro, you know?
Yeah.
And they claim that they aren't into that, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. And then what the fucking happened to Brandon, dude?
Brandon.
Like, did you see that?
Yeah, I talked to him. He's you know, he's got a lot of shit going on, so I think he's just he needs to refocus.
Yeah,
He'll be back.
obviously. Yeah, Kangen water systems are a scam.
Yeah, I'm not digging that.
Yeah, multi-level pyramid scheme.
I've been talked into pyramid schemes or multi-level marketing. Yeah, different ones, but not that one.
Yeah. Not that one. Well, that one, my brother was involved with that one for a decade, but I've been talked into a couple other ones, and they use like Scientology tactics, basically. Like they're very peer pressury, and they tell you to alienate people if they don't help you, and then you get you're supposed to recruit, and then you're supposed to motivate the people you recruit. So it's just this constant push for money, and they're selling a product that's not valuable. It does not have the value.
It's not legitimate. Yeah.
And if Brandon cared about people and wanted to help people and believed in the Kangen thing, or believed in the filter, or believed in the technology, he'd be telling people to buy them on fucking Craigslist where they're $300, not 10 grand. You know?
From all the people that bailed out once they realized it's full of shit.
They're all for sale for $300 on Craigslist.
Yeah. Well, that should show you the value of a product. Look at the marketplace, the used marketplace for a product.
Yeah.
You can see where the value lies.
Google what kind of filter are we talking about right now? Not
Berkey water filter.
Yeah, no, it's Kangen, not Berkey. Berkeys are actually legit. Kangen. So when if you order their Kangen water unit, you get it. All it does is ionizes the water. It doesn't filter it. If you want a filter, it's $2,800 more. So total, these things end up being around 10 grand. That's the goal, is to sell someone a $10,000 unit and keep those filters, because they got to keep buying the filters too. It's all proprietary. It's a complete bullshit scam. I confronted him about it nicely, and he told me I didn't know what I was talking about. And I showed him evidence, and he threw a temper tantrum and rage quit the podcast chat. You know, because he's on his Facebook saying he's all helping people today, feels good, you know, and he's like, it's like a picture of the Kangen you know, catalog, and it's like, fuck, bro, like, what are you talking about? Look at these other posts you're posting. Look at the shit you're posting about. Now you're scamming people with Kangen, and you won't. And then the other thing is, he's just like John Bob with like, oh, I got to drink my, you know, everybody should drink mushroom coffee in the morning and drink ionized water and you know, fast and do all this sketchy shit that doesn't have science behind it. You know, i.e., this neutral water, whatever this water is they're saying is doing, which, so it's like
the water that has fruit, like just dangling around in it. Does that have any kind of like special powers?
And
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and this is the new age bullshit we've all been warned about. But like,
yeah,
how can you be like so in tune with this body of work, then not realize that you're scamming yourself, scamming others by promoting it, and then you double down on the scam by, because you know he had to have looked up Kangen's, like seen something negative. You can't look up Kangen without seeing negative. So there's no way he didn't see it. And that's why I told him, I was like, bro, I gave you this information. Now, if you leave and you don't do anything to change, that means you're a scammer. Like, you're officially a scammer. If you've been warned of the scam and you continue to scam people, you know, and that's just giving him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't see anything online that's negative about Kangen anyway, you know? So it's like, it's this Padini syndrome where they memorize all the videos. They know all the things to say, but they aren't implementing in their life in the least bit. And you see it just by, you know, what they say. What, like, it's wild. I don't know, but I
Gotta walk
can't.
the walk, man.
Yeah, and like, you know, someone got butt hurt because I was being hard on him, but it's like, dude, fuck that. Like, I don't hang out with people that scam people. Like, I'm sorry, and like, especially knowing what I know now.
Yeah, you're
You know,
familiar with that particular one,
old.
so it's not like you're talking out of your ass.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just I don't know. It's like you think people know what's going on, but then they just don't. And like you know, like you were saying, I get it. I understand his frustration because he's been doing it a long time, and like look at the One Great Work Network. It's like unwatchable.
Joke.
It's like, I don't know, there might be a couple, even like the couple vegan guys, I followed him on YouTube. It's good stuff, but it's like they're just doing him. And you can't do that. You got to change, you know, like he's, you know, his stuff is very good for, you know, it's like very 90s style, you know, like the presentations and the PowerPoints and stuff, but it's like, it's good to get you into it. But like, we need to make movies and, you know, like, we need to push this into our culture,
Yeah,
and get more people into it because, you know, and like people just think they know everything. It's nuts. John Bob's like, oh, we know enough. He says, we know enough about natural law that we don't need to watch something like that. And I'm like, John Bob.
Oh God.
For one,
That's
I don't. You're speaking for me now. So you're speaking for me that I know enough when I don't know any, because I'm just watching these videos going, oh, I fucking don't know any. I mean, I know every once in a while I'm like, oh, cool. At least like I was right about that. I was right about that. Like I have like the same arguments, but just
it confirms
just hasn't been
something that you
presented
were.
like that.
Yeah.
It hasn't been presented like that, and it's like,
yeah, like he says at the beginning of the videos, usually there's nothing new under the sun. He's just repackaging it, rebranding it, making you more familiar with it from like
so they
a
lied
lot
to
of
us
research.
they lied to us about Satanism because they didn't want us to know that it's everyone in the fucking world, basically.
Well, that's the mind control. They've taken their own mentality and just pushed it on everybody else so that they don't look like the bad guy because you're doing it too.
It makes so much sense now. Like, what? Like, Satanism? Like, what do you mean? Like, they're like, you know, like sacrificing stuff, and like they got like upside down cross it, you know, like just because that's what the media wants us to think. And then they spookified the occult. The occult just means information that we don't have, that they're hiding from us, that might improve our life. Like, it doesn't mean
it's just hidden away.
Some weird, you know, religious, spooky, satanic, or like paganistic. Like, you know, they poo-poo on all this stuff constantly. So we just immediately dismiss it instead of actually trying to figure out what, like when we call them Satanists, we're not calling them like 666 Satanist metalheads. Like, that's just people that are just, you know, it's just people that aren't doing good in life, that have been wronged so many times. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, we still there? Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's just like, and then the karma thing too. The karma is like, oh, they've made karma sound so phony over the years too, because they've made this idea in your head that, oh, karma, oh, it's like something's going to come right around the corner and punch you in the face, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, if you put shit out into the world, it makes the world shittier.
Or if you put shit into yourself, you're going to put out, and
your environment is shit. You fuck someone over, they're gonna probably fuck someone over because they got fucked over. You know, it's like this fucking bullshit chain of events that people are stuck in. We're all stuck in, and this is how they're winning, you know. And like these dudes that don't like, they're like, oh, you know, like these vegans that don't believe in natural law. I'm like, wait, this doesn't make any sense at all. Where do the principles come from that you hold for veganism if you don't believe that you know, morals are, you know, like morals matter, or that like karma exists or anything? Like, you don't think like these carnists, like there is a giant karmic inventory being built up for all these carnists that like they're way in too deep. They're in way too deep, you know, like holy shit.
Yeah. That's why I think
they,
the vegans might be a little easier to reach at this point than the carnists.
Yeah.
I think we might be able to crack that and bring them over towards like understanding human liberty and how we're gonna holistically approach this problem. You know,
people are ready to get out of the two-party paradigm. They just haven't heard a good idea yet. You know.
Yeah.
Like we heard of like the big wave of libertarianism that went through like 2012. Like it was big, dude. Like there's been a lot has happened because of it, but at the same time, nothing has happened because of it.
It lost
crazy.
A lot of momentum.
Oh my God. It failed. It absolutely failed. The Ron Paul revolution failed. Absolutely. At least
Trump showing up at the libertarian thing, is that the nail in the coffin?
No. As of today, it could become not a failure in the future. But as of today, it's a failure for sure. Nothing has happened. Yeah. Everyone has dropped off. Everyone's morals got worse. Everyone fell back into the two-party paradigm.
Everybody's a sellout.
And like I've held on to like a pretty cool group of people, but very small, you know, that hung around the whole time and stuck through it and actually hold the same things, hold the same principles still that they did back then. And it's like, it's so funny how full of shit everyone is, and how full of shit I was even 6 months ago, you know, like still pushing ANCAP stuff as if that's like peak, and, you know, like just not really getting it fully.
Yeah.
And it's been going, you know, going to bat, like fighting these guys day in and day out and researching, you know, that like nothing motivates me more than someone saying something I don't know about that has to do with one of my arguments. That's why I'm begging these guys, come up with some better shit. Like, I'm so sick of hearing the same stupid anti-vegan arguments. I could play devil's advocate for carnism way better than any of these guys can. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. Like
we've heard all the same arguments to the point where we've been able to systematically debunk them. It's almost like we can predict their next move, because they only have like 5 or 6 core arguments, and that's
why it's funny when like the three of us will be
false.
Sitting there. Someone will bring up prop deaths to the three of us, and we'll just laugh. We're like, "Oh, dude, well, dude, I spent like 40 hours of research on crop deaths. I debunked a farmer who admitted I was right.
You got 40 hours of video debunking
40 hours, debunking every aspect of crop deaths. No, you're fucking wrong. Sorry, Ted Nugent said some dumb shit that you guys all got behind, like, and went way too hard with it, and we had to debunk that shit. That literally, like, I remember the day I was like, I watched that Ted Nugent video again, and I was just like, oh, I have to.
And then it just went viral. I
have to put this to rest. And all these motherfuckers kept sending it to me. They're all, oh, look, you're debunked. You're debunked. I'm all, for one, he's saying, because he's a hunter that hunts with a bow. Like, it's like, you didn't even listen to what he said. You just sent this. It doesn't apply to you. You know, it applies to Ted Nugent only, for one. But the whole crop dust thing and how all these animals are dying for our tofu and it's not dying for anyone else's meat, that omission fallacy, just absolute like deception, double speak, you know, like that I had to kill it. And so that was like, I made a video, and that like next week someone was like, oh, you should debate this guy Garland Farms, and Garland was like, let's do this, and I was like, okay. And then that was like 8 different sessions with that guy to get him to finally admit he's fucking wrong. And then he ignored it. He denies it on his channel. He doesn't post any of the stuff, any of the debates that, you know, he doesn't post anything. These people are all ridiculous. But we got to go after bigger fish. Garland has lost. Thanks, babe. Garland has actually lost followers since that debate. He has not gained any numbers. I've gotten like 2,000 in that time, which is pretty funny. But yeah, he's small peanuts. He's kind of low-hanging fruit, really. There's no logic or science or nothing involved with his whole thing. Every time I go over there, they're just trying to get gotcha moments. And then he makes little videos with me in it, but it's like 2 seconds of something I'm saying when I'm like mid-sentence that like goes along with, he pulls the like media tricks. Harnessed media. And then he won't show his face anymore because I swear to God, he had a stroke or something, dude. Last time I saw him, his hair was white.
Damn.
Like before, he still had some color in his hair. It wasn't even that gray. He still had he was balding, but like he still had brown hair. And then he disappeared for like 3 months, come back and his hair's white. And he's talking like he's 20 years older. And then he disappears again. And now he won't even show his face anymore. And anytime I ask him about how his health is, he just disappears. He won't engage. Just like he won't engage when I try and talk to him about his farm that he says he has. He won't engage with a conversation because he doesn't have a farm. He might have a couple goats in his yard, but he doesn't have a farm. Yeah, he has been shaken to his core. I think, and like I believe he's married too. Like I don't know who would put up with that kind of shit all the time. But yeah, so all these fakers, no one wanting to do anything. And it's funny because even Jordan Peterson came through and was like, clean your fucking rooms, motherfuckers. And they still don't get it. So we had Mark Pasco and Jordan Peterson come through and try and be like, dude, you guys have to work on your shit and what energy you put out in the world. If you don't think constantly putting out bad energy does something for the whole environment negative, and a lot of these, I can't believe how many of these dudes are friends.
That's why I explain to people.
Karma doesn't exist.
It's a scientific law. It's like gravity, electromagnetism, thermodynamics. It's not escapable. It is just simply part of the fabric of reality. And why would we be so? Why would we have the hubris to think that everything else has to follow laws of the universe except our behavior? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's
and
nuts.
The defining factor is that we have the ability to understand it, where the other beings that we share our existence with, they don't have that capability. So we can't hold them to the same standards that we would have the consequences of.
Yeah.
It's kind of like so I mean like the crop dust thing, I guess the example I use is like the difference between murder and manslaughter. It's like the intent matters, you know. Intentionally going to extinguish a life, totally different from, losing control of your car and hitting somebody on the side of the road, you didn't intend to, kill them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have the same
Well,
karmic consequence.
There's so many levels to their straw men. It's not even funny. Like, for one, who are these vegans that are saying that they don't kill anything? I've never seen
none
one.
of us.
None of the vegans that he talks to. None of us say that.
Hey,
we all understand
so
there's incidental
here's an
deaths
example
involved with our living. Yeah.
I saved a fly in my house today. He looked like he was on his way out because he wasn't trying to escape very hard. And I picked him up and I actually grabbed him with my hand and I put him outside. And then I have my car has all kinds of bugs on the grill and the windshield. It's like that's the difference. It's like there's ones I can't do anything about that. Do I want to plow through a bunch of bugs on my way to my destination? Of course I don't. But it's a natural
what I do?
Consequence.
You know what I do? I drive right behind big rigs everywhere.
Drafting, yeah.
To mitigate the bugs I kill. I even go that far. Legit.
That's
go that
good,
far.
and you're saving fuel.
Yeah, drafting for sure. No, especially with my truck. Oh my god, my truck gets like, it gets like 16 on the freeway, but if I'm drafting, it'll get 32. It's crazy. It's nuts.
I think I'm getting about 15.
And so compared to a carnist that doesn't think about anything like that ever, that's why, like Justin the other day, I got him to sign off on me because I was like, dude, your karmic inventory is higher than mine. Even if your plant sentience thing is true, that's an argument for us because that means your karmic inventory is way bigger than a vegan's. You're killing both. And you don't give a shit. So you're killing bugs in the house. You're killing, you're trying. You don't give a shit. But the straw man is like, these dudes start with the biggest straw man for us, which is, all vegans think that they don't kill anything. And it's like, oh my God, you're taking, and even like I've heard Larkin be like, oh, it's these vegans that say that they respect all nature. And it's like, what do you mean? Of course you can respect all nature and still have incidental deaths that happen because you exist. Like it's their straw man after straw man after straw man. And this whole, vegan dishonesty. It's like, no, go look at the definition of vegan. How is that? How are we being dishonest? It doesn't say vegans do not, eat or wear or buy any products that are tested on animals or plants. That's not what we're saying. Or bugs, like, dude, we know bugs are going to get crunched underneath our feet. We know there's bacteria under, no one is saying that. So right off the bat, his argument is completely gone. So they want to focus on these straw men, these arguments we aren't even making because they want to ignore the real shit that they don't want to even talk about. And that's when they just bounce or they ad hominem or they make some statement that they can't back up any further than the statement, but this whole plant
block you.
Super funny. Like Justin will send me some video, some guy.
I know they're using the worst argument ever. That's like all of them now.
Yeah. And it's an argument for us. It helps us way better than it helps them. And they go to bat with it. And it's like these guys all fall back on being into natural law, but they aren't, they're all down for Pasio big time, but they aren't, they're just down because he's big and he does better presentations than all these guys. Like going back and watching a Larkin Rose video, it's just it's like, I want to pull my hair out. Like, it's so mind-numbingly boring. I can't believe the guy is still saying the words that are coming out of his mouth 15 years later. And it's like, I get it. That's your thing. You're the Ron Paul guy. You're the, I got all the one-liners that I stole from Ron Paul 20 years ago, and it's like, dude, you're still getting by on this stuff, and you haven't pushed your your minions to like try and make themselves better people. It's just constant. Oh, the authorities, government. It's like nonstop. And then they're like, oh, talking about morals this, morals that. And it's like, dude, you think you're a good person because you don't physically hurt other humans? Like the whole like non-aggression principle thing has always cracked me up, because it's like, dude, people talk about the nap all the time. It's like, you really need a pat on the back for that you don't fight people.
I know, for being a decent human being.
Yeah, that's not what it's about. Just like, you know, just like the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, it's not about hunting. It's about keeping government alive, you know? Like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
But this fucking clown, let's watch this video a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you see this? Oh wait, Jerem's here, or Jerem wrote.
Yeah, I just figured out how to look at the chat.
I might have not posted the StreamYard link in a while.
Put it up.
There.
Get on here.
Yeah. So did you see? Okay, so Fresh and Fit. This video. Where is it? I got it up here somewhere.
I haven't seen them in a while. I thought they were in hot water for something not too long ago.
I'm sure. So the guy fourth from the left in the white is the guy that Paul Enslaved used to push on us. And then 3 over from him,
he would put his videos like some motivational, like life shit.
Yeah,
okay. I know what you're talking. Yeah.
Remember, I was like laughing at Paul. I was like, "You really like this stuff? Like, you fall for this shit?" And he was like getting super mad at me. You know, like when it was like 1 week, he was pushing this and Andrew Tate, and I was just like, "Dude, Tate's a fucking obvious, like, really bad, like, clear psyop, like to get." You know, people into materialism and all the stuff that we don't.
Yeah, and then questionable behavior with women too.
Of course, yeah, objectification. So 3 over from the guy in white who Paulie was pushing on it is Andrew Wilson. Do you remember Andrew Wilson from the Crucible?
Yeah, he's on there.
So Andrew Wilson's up here, who I kind of debated with Garland Farms. I mean, he was the moderator, but he was not moderating. He was being a vegan. I mean,
that guy is a solipsist.
Yeah, he's kind of a clown.
He's definitely into the Satanist mind control.
Very much so.
Yeah, because his arguments against veganism fall into those just like complete darkness, solipsistic.
Yeah. And so he in his dealing, like on the professional level, dealing with him and getting on his show and doing 3 shows on his show, 4 shows, doing 4 shows, 4 of the biggest shows. The me and Garland second one was the biggest show he'd ever had. He was a complete unprofessional dickweed the whole time. Like he wasn't even trying to like be professional or anything. And like he spelled my name wrong on purpose. And then like he like took this really goofy screenshot of me and like put like a green filter over it and like made me look all sucked up and like weird because and like he kept like doing like he never linked my YouTube or anything like that. Like he never like wanted to give me any credibility. And like he was a total prick the whole time. And I stayed really chill. He even thanked me at the end. He was like, "I'm surprised you kept your chill the whole time. You've been a really good sport. I do have to commend you for that." Because those dudes fuck with, I mean, everyone. That's a lion's den. The Crucible is not a vegan place. It's a very anti-vegan place. And I chose to do my vegan debates there because I wanted to have that kind of an environment. I want to do it. I want to fuck them up in their place. You know, like I want them to see that they lost. And so anyway, Andrew is a total dill hole. So it was funny to see this and be like, holy crap, this is really funny. But this what went down, this is hilarious. This is super
Because
hilarious.
a lot of people don't have that level of freedom in the world. So, 100%.
To be honest, it's working in what you love, because you got to wake up and love your life. Just create that, that life you just want to live every day. You want to stop, Sometimes I don't want to sleep and I want to wake up earlier just because I live the life I want to live. I also with my wife, like I'm married but not trapped. It's not like I hide shit. It's everything is up front. Like I don't hide anything and I show everything. So,
blessed man.
Oh, what I meant to say was this is one of a very rare instance where I kind of had his back, Andrew's back, a little bit, maybe a little bit, just because of how this went down.
Okay.
And the clownery.
And my definition of success is across the board. If you're not ripped, if you're not rich, if you ain't rare, if you don't stand out, if you ain't across the board successful, it doesn't mean fuck shit to me. If you got straight tits and you're in your Rolls Royce, you look like a fucking clown to me. I'm just laughing at your dumb fucking ass. But this is the whole fucking point. You have a weakness. Change it, motherfucker. How the fuck are you going to lead people if you don't realize your weakness is their way out? They're not going to listen to you. You're sitting there possessing shit that they don't want to have. So, I mean, this is what people say. Oh, it's not about the money. It's about family, Wes. It's about this, about that. Motherfucker, when you're making money, it's about the money. When it's family, it's about family. When you're at the gym, it's about muscle. Whatever you're doing, it's about that. There's no black and white life. It's the gray area.
It's all about
you have to be good at everything. That's the goal, to really excel in every area.
This crazy false male body type, cringe, carnist, stereotype,
machismo.
Like, look at this guy's pants, though. Look at how tight those jeans are. Like, this guy's
he bought him with holes in them.
And this is what Paulie Unslave was pushing, like literally like, oh yeah, look at this guy. He's cool. I like what he's saying. Like
rolling most rooms with successful entrepreneurs, and it's pathetic. They'll have like a before and after picture of their fitness shit, and their after picture looks like their before pic. And I'm like, motherfucker, you're not embarrassed of this shit? Like, you have enough money, and that's what you put out. You're that big of a pussy. Like, I just can't get behind anything that's not done at a high level. So knock the one thing off the board first, then the next thing, then the next thing.
Jonas sure got some shitty tattoos.
I mean, the whole thing. What's rare mean to me? It means no vices. It means no drugs, no alcohol, no bullshit. Don't have to hide behind nothing. I'm rich. I mean, you get to do what the fuck you want. I don't need you to be a billionaire to say you're rich.
It's just like half
other people. They'll see
okay.
that even I rent my place. It's $95,000 a month. But they're like, you rent your place.
Like these dudes, like obviously they're not going to get popular by saying dumb shit all the time. So they have to say some cool shit in order to like get this following. And then they're at the center of a hierarchy where people are feeding them information nonstop. And so the more they read their chat, the more things they can find to steal to present as their own ideas. It's all this cycle of bullshit that like these dudes are just like, oh, they're famous because they're buff, basically, like meatheads. But yeah, it's really funny.
You don't understand how to even operate at my level. People don't buy a $24 million house. They buy $24 million worth of properties that would bring them more money. Dump all that into that fucking liability and live in some $24 million pad you bought, stupid. Fucking make investments and you bring it back to this. But everybody thinks they know some shit. And if you don't have the results that I want in some area, I can't fucking listen to you. So most people, I won't listen to them. What are they going to tell me? Some motherfucker comes up to me at the gym and he's like, hey, you should do your push-ups like this. And I say, why? So I can look like you, motherfucker? And the guy's like, oh, no, but like, it looks like you're going to hurt your... Shut the fuck up, dude. I'm end up with your chest if I do that shit. Why would I want that? Or these motherfuckers go in my comments and I'll say some shit on purpose. I'm like, rent or buy. And if you ain't at the level to even do either of these, shut the fuck up and don't even participate. And they just get mad. It's like, you don't get to have an opinion if people want to learn for you. You don't get to say my chick's a BBL and her fake tits aren't for you. You couldn't get her, you dumb motherfucker.
You don't have Federal Reserve notes.
3. And that's the worst thing about these motherfuckers. They try to give you relationship advice.
If you don't pay taxes, You ain't a man.
You ain't a real man.
If you don't support the fucking death machine, if you don't support the war machine, the fucking slavery in the world by fucking, oh boy, oh my god, I can't with these clowns.
This is some satanic bullshit. This is like the let me get mine and fuck the rest type shit.
Like, when we say satanic, we're not saying he worships the devil.
No,
that's the other way they try and cover up people, stop people from looking into
his masters might do some
say
shit like that, but they picked out his religion.
Yeah. They say that it's a part of religion and it's part of the devil, which is part of the Bible. So people are all, oop, write it off right there. But no,
well, it sounds like Satanism, his religion is money. It's the one eye.
Yeah, one eye. Wild.
You talking about? Don't give me relationship advice to my 10 when you got a 2, motherfucker. Shut up. But this whole thing. People don't think I'm going to put the measuring stick to their motherfucking face.
I did have to say that to Justin Padini the other day.
Just watch what they say around a motherfucker who's beating them in every area. And if someone is beating you, just ask them. Just be humble. Like, your bitch is better than mine. How'd you get her? That car's way more than mine. How'd you do it? You make more than me. What's up? Like, just fucking ask. And that's the thing. People aren't humble enough to ask. That's my shit. It's got to be across the board. You better have a bad bitch.
People aren't humble enough.
You better fucking be rolling some sick shit. That's what I like. I grew up hustling. That's me rims on.
Yeah, and you're an ex-con, bro.
Go out front. That ain't normal Phantom. That's a Mansory Phantom. I don't have the normal shit. Fuck that.
That's a car you lease.
Done.
Well said, Wes. God damn, with the fire. Shit.
We got. I've been watching Goldie's content. That's the reason. I've been watching Goldie's content. He be getting me in trouble. My chick don't like his content. She's like, he's making too much sense.
Shout out to Goldie. All right. What about you?
Supposed to follow that up?
It's tough, right?
Get him. Well, hey, what you guys were saying earlier, I need to know what the fuck you said in English.
Okay, so my definition of
Here's
success
Andrew.
will probably be far different than everybody else's on the panel. I'll probably maybe be the lone dissenter, but my definition of success is having a family.
Oh my God. Is that Jim Bob right next to him?
Of the apparatus of the world.
Yeah, it's Jim Bob.
True wealth.
Oh God.
He's also
Christ said himself, what good does it benefit a man to gain the entire world at the cost of his soul? And essentially, when I think of wealth, I think of materialism. It's okay to have materialism. It's not against Christian ethics to become rich, become wealthy. But I just think it's all beside the point, ultimately. You're trying to go for a single thing, and it's to achieve something greater than
money?
the person.
Does he have money?
No.
Do you have money?
No, I don't have.
How much money do you have?
I don't have money. But here's the thing. Why is money valuable?
Do you have money?
What is money valuable for?
I'm just asking. Do you have money?
I just said no. I'm broke. I'm a nobody.
But really, you are?
Yeah.
Is he really broke?
Yeah.
Bro, say it again. Holy shit.
I just want to know. I have to know.
No, I'm not. I'm not one of these rich guys. I don't have a Bugatti. I don't have a Lambo. I just
really have to know. Like, how much money you got?
Probably $5 in my pocket.
Can anyone answer for the guy?
Why do they think I'm kidding? I have a family. I take care of an entire family. That takes a lot of money.
He's doing all right.
Okay,
but okay.
This is the thing, you guys. If you ain't fit, you can't say it's
He's
not
not going to let him talk.
Being in good
why,
shape.
Why not?
If you don't have money, you can't say it's not all about money.
Yeah, why
But
not?
if he does have money, he can say that.
Why not? Why can't you say it? Why must you have the thing before you hang on? Let me ask the question.
Because hypothetical is hypocritical.
Let me ask the question.
Hypothetical is hypocritical.
How do you even know what before I've even been allowed to ask the question?
I know what you're going to say.
Then what was I going to say?
You're going to say, why can't you ask the question?
Okay, so that's not what I was going to say. What I was going to say is, how in the world can you create a standard that it's inappropriate to ask somebody, how come if I don't have X thing, because I don't value X thing, does that mean X thing is actually valuable?
You've never experienced it, so you can't speak about it.
You think that I haven't experienced wealth?
I was asking if you did.
Even poor people experience days of wealth.
I was asking if you did. I don't know who you are.
And like the whole money thing, like, sure, money can buy you freedom and all that, but like, coming from someone who once had money, it was the worst time of my life. The most money I've ever had. Those were very sad. Those were very lonely days, when I was a rock star and had a shitload of money in the bank, and a nice car and girls and all this stuff, like it was cool for a moment, but it got old real quick.
Shallow.
When you aren't doing anything with it, you know, when you aren't doing anything good with it, when you don't have any purpose, when you don't have any, you know, you're not doing any work. Like I left the band I was in because it wasn't doing anything for the greater good. Like I grew up an activist, you know, like I used to do pita tables at high schools when I was a kid, when I was vegan in the 90s. Like I've always been an activist. And when I got in a band and that band wasn't doing anything good for the greater good of the earth, I left that band. Like I had no motivation to stay in it anymore. You know, like you have to do better always. And like, it's nuts. But yeah, it's not having money is not cool if you're doing stupid shit with it. And like, you know, having money is not, you know, like just having money and wasting it on cars and houses and me, you know, that's not doing anything good for anybody really. I mean, sure, some people are making some money off of you with through trickle down, but like, you're not changing the world with it in any way whatsoever. You're not changing anything for the better. You're still putting out negativity, being materialistic and teaching materialism. This guy's just clown city. Ronald McDonald.
He just keeps running him over. He's not letting him talk.
Yeah, because he's on steroids and probably cocaine. Justin Padini up there.
Yeah, we should have Justin Padini.
Justin was trying to talk down at me because I haven't donated as much as he has. He's all because I always point out that he pays his way into being buddies with these guys. And he's like, "Oh, you never donate?" Oh, da, 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 da. It's like, dude, you think your donations are making the world any better? Just ask Justin where's his great work. He'll disappear real quick.
But even poor people experience days of wealth, and so the thing is
no, definitely not. Definitely not.
Definitely so. Not. Definitely so.
I've lived the lowest lows and the highest highs.
Well, what's the distinction? After you make X amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you look at these studies done on this, it does not.
I don't fit no fucking study.
It does not hugely improve a person's life.
I don't look at no studies.
If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this motherfucker's proud of who the fuck he is? That's a bag of trash, dude. Pull your fucking
shit. God.
Tell me you're fucking proud
because
of yourself.
I've been to fucking prison.
Jesus Christ!
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison.
Bro. You got 10-inch arms and tits. Men don't have tits.
No, they go to prison where they get fucking.
Fuck yeah,
they get raped up the ass.
You've never been to prison. Look
That's
at
what
you. You don't know.
They go to prison where they get raped.
Now you get your ass beat in front of everybody.
That's better. You think that's
pretty good.
Let's let him give his definition of success. And then,
having tits and 10-inch arms is what a man is.
Let's let him.
Please don't listen to that.
Wes, let's let him get his thing out, and then
tits.
We can have different opinions.
Yeah.
Titties.
Anyway, back to where I was at.
Boobs.
Yeah. Okay. Prison. But anyway, if you want, if you want to follow the successful mantra of a man who tells you he's reformed from prison, understand why they might have gone there to begin with. And yes, I do think that a rejection of materialism is something missing in society. And I do think that true wealth is the family. And I think that true wealth is having a wife, and true wealth. That is what I think it is. And that is what I think truly success is being able to go home and look your family in the face and know that you're doing everything you can to support them. That's
then when you go to the beach with your family, they're like, "There's my stud dad right there standing there.
Do you have
that stud right there with his shirt off?
Do you have children?
Look at that stud.
Do you have children?
I do have children.
How many?
I have 2.
You have 2. So are you saying that your Bugatti and your money and everything else is worth more than your children?
Like, my dad's a superhero. Look what he brought to the table. Look how hard this guy works. He came from nothing to this.
Yeah.
He's God damn it.
You're still whining. Stop whining.
That
you're
is
just
a
making
product.
Argument.
I'll smack your fat ass.
So you're going to attack.
God.
Nobody's
Do you usually attack armed men in Florida?
Dude,
all right.
Let's just your goddamn self.
Okay,
guys.
Did he say attack armed men in Florida?
Chill out a little bit, man. A little bit.
This is not what men look like.
Let's let
What do they look like?
Is he packing?
Shit.
What do they look like? Bald prisoners?
Dude,
Does that look like?
This is the problem in society. Is people like this think they could talk to someone like me like that. They really think.
Oh yeah.
He knows he wouldn't
Yeah.
do shit about
Who
it.
started it, buddy?
I mean, you're the one who got hostile for having a difference of opinion.
Dude.
Yeah.
Check it out. You started coming at me about some other shit. This is what the show is supposed to be about. I like this shit. So personally, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I enjoy blood sports.
We can agree, disagree.
We can we can
we can move on. But Jesus Christ, men don't have tits. We can agree on that. Physically,
men usually have hair. We can agree on that too.
He has crossed over gender barriers.
I think we can see each side has different opinions.
By choice, crossing gender barriers by growing tits.
So, what about you, brother?
All right, nice.
Crazy.
Oh fuck.
Being
dude.
successful is effectively acting on your intentions, and I think I agree with Andrew that your intentions must align with something bigger than yourself. In my case, it's God, the Christian God, and so success to me is
Jewish
fulfilling
mysticism,
but maintaining your ethical standards. And you're doing that as a Christian. You are in fact procreating, and if you're not, you're doing something that fills.
Let's promise we won't look up to guys that
contributing to
obey Christian or Jewish mysticism.
And I think if you're not contributing to a moral society and you're only contributing to a consumerist society.
It was funny. I kind of knew I was gonna be ranty about stuff today, and I figured you would show up.
Yeah,
I was like, Ben's gonna show up today because he's gonna like the content.
Oh yeah. No, I've been on a roll lately listening to this guy named Adam Green. I don't know if you've heard of him. But his whole shtick is exposing the Abrahamic religions and how it's like duped our entire society. Everything is built around
Hard Hat's probably a guy. Hard Hat is way into that stuff.
Yeah.
The anti-Islamic shit. He seems
well,
like
yeah,
cool,
and it's usually these people get cast into like they're anti-Semitic or whatever, but it's like I started down this a long time ago with learning about astrotheology. You know, just the Son of God, God's only Son, dies on the cross. The cross representing the 4 seasons. You know, he goes into the tomb for 3 days and then he rises. It's fucking the winter solstice being told in a fucking story. So it's like now it's like based. This is why I'm laughing at these people, because it's like it's based and red pilled now to be like, obedient of Jewish mysticism and astrotheology. It's like you're not based, dude. You're duped. You got, son. You fucking mud ape.
It's the complete opposite of so like Padini will just throw the baby out with the bathwater. Everything in the Bible is bullshit.
Right.
And then they're on the other end where they're diving in too deep and they're saying that it's all fucking legit when it's like, no, there is some good, there are, there is, you can see, like when I first started watching Mark, it's like, oh, he's kind of just like a freaking a cool pastor that just like talks about different shit. It's like you see the basic Christian fundamentals are those of natural law for the most part.
Yep.
But then obviously the Bible was corrupted and people changed it.
Yeah.
But you can't, and that's how you should be with everything. You should never, and that's all we deal with, are people just throwing the baby out with the bathwater about everything. And it's like, I'm not even like interested in going, like, it's just watching these people and the things they talk about in their arguments. It's just like, holy shit, you guys need to get educated. Holy crap. Just terrible stuff. So, DM, I didn't know if DM was actually going to show up. I was kind of trolling him, but
is he in here?
DM, nah, I don't think he's here. No one's here tonight. Braxton's not here, so no one's here. Breaking everything all the time.
Where is Braxton? I thought he was with you.
He his parents did a road trip and picked him up.
Oh wow!
Going drive up the California coast.
Nice.
They're gonna go to like Big Sur and some stuff like that. But I probably shouldn't dox them.
Yeah.
So DM got us on to Bill Church.
Okay.
So
haven't heard that guy in a while.
Little bit of research. So this was obviously 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They're more in touch with nature in general and in touch with the land. Yes. Let's see. Who else do we have on the line? Let's go to Bill Church. Bill Church, you're live on What on Earth is Happening. Welcome.
Mark, can you hear me?
I can. Coming through loud and clear. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm doing great, brother. Good to speak with you always.
You too, my friend.
I appreciate you doing this show because I've experienced the polarization on this topic, and
I think we all have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a journey that I'm on as well. I'm on the trial and error aspect of this. The longest time that I went vegetarian, and I am currently a carnist. Okay, but I see and I know the moral. This is my biggest issue right now, man. It always has been.
So let me just clarify what you just said. You are attempting to go vegetarian right now.
Absolutely, I'm in the process always, dude. And that's that's where I want people to understand in the polarization of this community. We can help each other much more than by doing these vitriol attacks to each other.
I agree.
The vitriolic I've experienced has made me separate myself. And
so this is one of the things, one of the small criticisms I have. Mark says you can't go vegan tonight.
Right, yeah. I don't agree with that either.
Partially disagree.
It's because of Mark that I did go vegan overnight.
Yeah, you should have no problem going vegan overnight.
It's because Mark told me to watch Earthlings in its entirety without stopping. And I did, and I was in a ball crying the whole time, and I couldn't fucking be the same person I was before. I couldn't be a fucking hypocrite. I couldn't bring myself to continue lying to myself, so I had to go vegan overnight.
Yeah. So I knew all that shit already from back in the day in the 90s. I was vegan for a long time, and a card carrying PETA, flyer distributor throughout high school, up in NorCal. I did all kinds of stuff. And so I fell from that and became a carnist after that, when I got caught up being a rock star in Hollywood, with the money and the booze and the girls and all that shit. I lost my morals.
Yeah.
And I had vegan guilt for years because I knew every time, and it still grossed me out even though I was eating meat. And then I was paleo for a while, when I was doing the Adam versus the Man podcast. Paleo, gnarly, and just I see pictures of myself back then, and I'm like, holy crap, I look like shit. Legit. It reminds me of when I look at myself in 2013, when I was paleo and I was buff, 6-pack, abs, everything. I was buff because I was just eating nothing but meat and just doing vanity muscle push-ups, pull-ups, just sit-ups, all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I looked then like I looked when I was an alcoholic, smoking 2 packs a day, partying it up in Hollywood when I was 28. I looked almost the same, just bleh in the face, all puffy and just gross. So anyway, so I knew all that shit, and all it took was I was dating a girl that was vegan, and she was like getting into libertarianism, and was like, one night she was like, whoa, this whole non-aggression principle thing, you're a fucking hypocrite, like straight up was just like, nah, like that needs to be extended to animals for sure, like come on, like she was like laughing, and I was all, oh, and I'm not used to losing arguments over stuff like that, so I was like, oh shit. And then this homie made this video because that got me thinking. I was like, oh fuck. And then I was just like, I'm just gonna look up on YouTube vegan anarchism, and this dude who I made a couple of videos with, and he ended up like blocking me because like he was a part of like legalizing weed in California, and it was like a terrible idea to legalize weed. It needed to be decriminalized, and like he had just could not deal with the fact that I didn't respect him because he helped legalize weed. But anyway, he made this video basically just talking about subsidies and and I was just thought, oh fuck, done, vegan again instantly. Like, oh, there's like, once I saw there was like tons of like tie-in with vegan with anarchy and shit, I was like, oh, duh. And so I had a whole and like it was in the transition was seamless, like I just simply like the only thing that happens when you turn vegan is better shit happens. Like, you lose weight in the right places, you lean out, like you start, having more energy, you start being less aggressive, you start being less lazy, procrastinate less. Things that happen when you go vegan, you just feel better.
My cystic acne went away.
Yeah, you don't feel like you're dragging ass all the time. Diverticulitis. Oh my god. But yeah, so let's continue this. So I do not agree that and like listening to him talk about that over and over again, it's like that scares people for sure.
Yeah, it's like a disclaimer.
You got to do it the right way, and it's going to take a while, and it's this big transition.
Yeah, it's like no, we don't need to preface veganism with anything, and we don't need a disclaimer to veganism. We just need to we just need to say what the truth is, and then you just need to bring yourself into alignment with that truth, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And come to my own. And the thing is, Mark, is that I juice my own vegetables. I do the hemp seeds. I do everything. I do the tinctures. My wife is.
It's especially cute though, because like my mom raised me McDougal. I was raised in a health food store, so like it's cute the era of health food that Mark promotes. Juicing and like
juicing,
seeds and like just the stuff they talk about eating. It's like then, it's like that first month of being vegan where you're just like, oh, what do I eat? Like, you're just like, you have no idea what to eat. Flash forward 10 years later being vegan, you're just like, you look at people like that and it's super funny.
I'm gonna body these French fries.
Yeah. Or it's just, you just eat. You've just figured out what you eat, after 10 years.
Keep it simple.
In the beginning, you're just like kind of going to the listening to marketing, because like juicing's kind of a joke. You scared of fiber? Like it doesn't really make sense to take the fiber out of the fruit. It's cool, like it's definitely got its thing, but it's not. And like the problem, the other thing is with juicing, vegans or plant-based dieters that go vegan will instantly go get a juicing machine and they'll juice and juice and juice and juice and juice, and they'll go bulimic. Basically, they'll lose a bunch of weight. Their skin will get all transparent, and you know, and then they'll be like, veganism's bad, and then they'll go full carnivore and talk shit about vegans.
Beef tallow diet.
Yeah, exactly. What's up, Gord? You should get up here. I want to talk about utilitarianism, consequentialism.
The Gord.
Gord seems to kind of get it, because Gord seems to understand in some sort of natural law.
Yeah.
Where the other guys, Carson and all those folios, Jerem, they don't believe in natural law. They don't believe there are no laws of nature. They think that if they run off a cliff, that the cliff's gonna take care of them and not make them fall to their deaths. They think that there's no rules to nature in any way whatsoever, and that they don't think that they think that you can just do whatever you selfishly want to do in a society over and over and over again, and things aren't going to degrade. That's what they think. They think that there's a certain behavior. There's no certain behavior to change the outcome for the positive or the negative. That's what these guys think. It's pretty funny. They think if you beat someone, they won't end up having problems later in life or something. I don't know what these guys think, but they don't think much. It seems like. Get up here, Jeremy. It's lunch break on Monday. Have you figured out your damn connection issue, Mr. I'm in Korea, where they have the best internet in the world, yet hasn't been able to do a podcast since because his internet's so bad? I'm confused. Or it's just propaganda. They just don't let the internet work well in the US because they don't want because they're commies or something, you know? Okay, so why is Bill Church having such a hard time going vegan? And this was 5 years ago. So we need to figure out if he's vegan now or if he's vegetarian or still a carnist, because it's like, okay, if you got it 5 years ago, what the fuck is the problem? You know?
Shouldn't take 5 years.
No. But everyone in this community, it takes them 15 years to do anything, or not, or these guys just end up thinking that the world's coming to the end, and that's it. They're like, oh, I'm getting my bug out bag together. Oh, they've been saying that for so long. Come on.
They've been saying that since. They've been saying that since the 70s.
The millennia, yeah, the millennials, the millennium was supposed to. It's like every time it's like, oh, it didn't happen. Anonymous was wrong.
The new end of the world cult. What was that one? Yeah. They all did the suicide pact together or something.
Heaven's Gate.
The Heaven's Gate. It's like the new Heaven's Gate every couple of years.
You want to know a cool Heaven's Gate story? So those shoes, the shoes they bought were on closeout. They made a deal with Nike to buy those shoes because Nike, they weren't selling. And so Nike had all this backstop. And so the Heaven's Gate bought the shoes for the whole cult from Nike. And then they died. And there is all the footage of their feet sticking out on the beds with the shoes on.
Oh, God.
And thus skyrocketed the popularity of those shoes. And those shoes are the best-selling shoes of Nike's ever had to this day. After being the least sold shoes, they became the biggest sold shoes because they were plastered all over the media and everyone in the world saw them. So everybody wanted them.
That's like, weird.
Yeah. Heaven's Gate. They all castrated themselves.
Ugh.
No thanks. Once they start talking about that stuff, that's when you need to bail.
The Wildcrafter.
Sure.
Okay. And so she's out right now.
That'll certainly help with it. I mean,
no, you guys, you can go vegan overnight, no problem. Only good things happen. Your body will detox. Your shit will smell funny, but that's just flushing the carcass out of your body. Like, there's stuff that sticks in your system for a long time.
And
it's
the other
really
thing
gross.
that Mark says that I disagree with is he says he's not a militant vegan. What is the definition of a militant vegan? What is the definition?
Is he joking?
No, I've heard him say that a couple times.
Of a militant vegan.
Right.
He is.
He's militant in everything he does, but
me. And
yeah.
I go to bat with people, all the time.
Look,
but this dude spits fire.
Yeah, and it's like,
those last 5
is it wrong
are
to be? Is it a vice to be extreme in the face of evil when you're trying to stand in right action?
I get the litmus test thing because that's what he's really doing. He's like, I'm not going to scream at people. I'm not going to bust people's balls in front of me, if they eat meat in front of me, which is wild because if you respect the guy, why would you do that? But he's like, I want to see you come to it on your own. I get that he's taking that position as the teacher. He's like, I'm not going to grill you on it. I want to see you do it because I want to see which ones are the real ones, that get this right off the bat, or the ones that struggle for 15 years and end up still eating meat, so I get the litmus test thing. And of course I, selfishly want him to be more militant, obviously, and start like naming names and stuff. But like, he's, this is obviously, dude's been saying this stuff for a long time and he's been doing whatever, he has his reasons. But this last 5 episodes of his podcast are like legendary epic vegan shit,
Yeah.
Like even we showed Jerem had no idea who he was. Jerem's like, this guy's great.
No, I thought it was a long time ago. I remember seeing, who Paul Bashir is?
No.
So Paul Bashir is one of the founders of Anonymous for the Voiceless.
Yeah.
And he shared, you know about AV?
Isn't he kind of sketchy?
There's some sketchy stuff, yeah. But before the sketchy stuff on his YouTube channel, I think he broke up with his chick a while back, probably because of some stuff like that. But yeah, there was some stuff about like intersectionality, and that's like a no-no, and it's kind of bad. He shared Mark's Carnism, like the original Carnism podcast on his channel.
Carnism,
and no, just like the first one from way back, Carnism, a dogmatic religion.
Oh yeah.
That's good. And I've tried to reach out to him, and then that guy's channeled Carnism Debunked. That guy himself, that's a different guy. I've tried to reach out to both of them about his content and trying to, bridge that gap and understanding why it is, that this speaks to liberty, freedom, and spirituality on a holistic level. And how we're not going to get people to go vegan unless they understand this on a higher plane.
Yeah. Wait. So what happened with what's the guy's name? Bob the something vegan guy. You never come on, so there's like all this stuff I've been wanting to talk to you about for months. Remember,
Bob
there was he ended up being anti-gun.
Oh,
and we were going to try to come on the show.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that guy.
What was his name?
I don't know. Is he like a big YouTuber or something?
He's trying to be.
One of your, he's one of your Facebook friends.
One-man live streams where he just like responds to the chat and like talks shit and gives his politics. and they're like pretty budge politics, pretty statist NPC stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess he's anti-gun. Like, what? So I hit him up and I was like, hey, dude, you should come on the show.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I don't have time, bro. But he's like live streaming all the time. And like just like arguing with like people, like smart people are arguing with him in the chat.
He should invite us on the show then.
I don't think he wants to be the center of attention. He's like one of those guys.
Okay.
Where it's like, no, you should do shit like this. It's way more fun, you know, like
yeah.
Let anyone come up. Don't be scared. Like, don't be scared, homie. So wise Bill Church. So
be able to get so much benefits and energy from doing something like that. That's a hugely added benefit.
Well, and the thing is that I need help, you know, and
and then if you're dumping juice on the carcass, you're not really negating the carcass, you know. So it's like, don't buy the juicer, just go vegan, and then maybe juicer later, you know, like everyone. I gotta get healthy. I'm gonna buy
this reminds me. So, I was hungry the other day, and I just wanted to grab something to take home real quick. And there's this salad to go place, and it has like a drive-through, like really close to our house. Have you heard of this? It's like Salad and Go or something. It's like a little tiny drive-through thing.
They've had places like that in LA.
Yeah, so I pulled up and I'm like expecting, okay, cool, I can grab something to eat here. The only thing I could find is the Thai salad. There's like 6 or 7 different salads. There's one that doesn't have like cheese or something, or like egg whites on it or something. And then I asked for that one with tofu, and they didn't have tofu. They were all out. And they said, oh, we can substitute with this protein, that protein. I was just like, no, I just want a salad. I don't want chicken, and I don't want chicken periods on it, and I don't want cheese. I was just thinking to myself, I made this comment to Teresa today. I was like, leave it to Carnus. You know, you just like a salad should just be a bunch of vegetables and stuff. And it's like, they want to make it like this shrub here, and then you just chop somebody's head off and you just throw it in the shrub. It's just like you just chop off somebody's arm and just throw their bloody body parts into like a bush. You know, it's like that's supposed to be edible.
Yeah. Oh boy, we got a metard.
We got comments.
Word. No.
Vegetables have feelings.
Yes, we have a plant sentientist. We have a vegetable rights activist in the house.
Oh God. Well, on that note, unfortunately, I gotta get going.
All right. Leave me all alone.
Gonna make my exit. Yeah.
All right. Peace.
All right, later, dude.
Late. Let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to see this.
The plan is to, because right now only about 2%.
Man, I gotta turn this up to like 2%.
Humans. 98% of it is going to livestock. Very little of that going to cattle. Less than 1%. Most of it going to the pig and poultry industries. But the idea is to
Garland's way more tolerable.
Add layers of ultra processing so that that other 98% can be processed in a way to make it somehow digestible for humans.
On 2x.
And palatable. It's a lot. It's just, I think, haven't you and I looked at some literature studies showing the profitability being higher in plant-based foods than animal-based foods?
Yeah, there's some market reports there, definitely.
Profitability.
Hey,
well, whoa, hold on.
Pretty good. How are you guys doing?
I gotta.
Good. Yeah.
The profitability, plant versus meat, is only it's falsely it's supplemented by the subsidies So there's no way of gauging the real profitability of plant-based foods versus animal-based foods. It's like Garland and his buddy here, anti-war mindset. Most anti-war people are, or at least like most anti-war philosophers show, like make the distinction between factory farming and war, like Leo Tolstoy, so it's pretty funny to have that. Funny and ironic that the guy's name's anti-war mindset. But yeah, so they're like, they don't know what the profitability is of vegetable plant-based foods versus animal-based foods because of all the subsidies. If the subsidies were gone, then they'd know, but that's not the case. So this is a vegan coming up to have a swipe at Garland and anti-war mindset. I'm sure he's gonna smoke them.
You're vegan?
Yeah, anti-carnic. You've talked to me before.
So what did you want to talk about?
I don't remember seeing your face.
Oh yeah, I was just on the I wasn't with the camera last time, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to come to basically take out the crop deaths argument specifically.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Why don't you state really quickly for the record, I guess, what is your crop deaths argument? Just that way it's out there. I haven't really, I just popped on and saw that you were streaming. So
Garland, let me just state. I mean, it's not actually like a quote unquote argument necessarily. It is just a fact that both the meat and the plant-based diet kill animals, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Sure.
Okay. So given that this is the fact, the default position should be, or is, that neither the meat eater nor the vegan shoulders the burden of proof for justifying their dietary choices, given that both diets result in animal suffering and deaths. Now, given that the vegan attempts to shift the burden of proof onto the meat eater to justify their consumption, this creates an asymmetry because the vegan does not shoulder a similar burden of proof to justify their consumption of plants.
No. So Garland has this idea that vegans do, like he's just blanketing. It's just these blanketing statements. Vegans don't hold the burden of the fucking plant deaths. Like, we understand. I've been with it. I've been through it with Garland with this. He just ignores the 40 hours I've spent with him. It's just completely a nonsense argument that we aren't taking any responsibility. We understand that there's death involved with plants, but the problem is that they don't understand it. It's carnist farming practices that are doing all these that are honestly responsible for all plant crop deaths, because they choose to use carnist practices and they aren't careful. They, if Garland, what Garland says is shoot, blasting birds out of the sky and having to kill all these animals. That's very irresponsible farming. Same kind of farming that's destroyed all the farmland in the Midwest. It's the same reason why the powers that be, the elites, are trying to get people to eat more plant-based stuff, is because all the farms are overused. If you're really a farmer like Garland Farms claims he is, he would understand that you can over farm your land and ruin it, and all the farms are being ruined. So the powers that be that own all these farms are pulling back. And yes, they may say, oh yeah, plant-based, everyone, that it may seem like they're saying that, but at the same time, these people own billions of heads of cattle. These people aren't promoting veganism. They're just trying to conserve their future because they want to make money in the future too. There's plenty of logical reasons why the powers that be would recommend people going plant-based and plant-based foods being introduced if they're trying to, save, these people are like global warming goofs, and they're trying to save the environment and rebuild the farmland and stuff like that. But it's still it's a ridiculous statement that they just like saying over and over again, because all they do on this show is just stroke each other off. These two guys, they're ridiculous. They say it's an echo chamber, and this is what's happening with this Joe Rogan cult of Joe Rogan echo chamber, where people are just saying lies back and forth and everyone believes it. And then you go on their show and you say something like, yeah, all the science says that the less meat you eat, the more healthy you are. They're like, oh my God, what are you saying? And it's like, what do you mean? What am I saying? We've known this for 200 years. Like, there's thousands of studies and meta studies and stuff that promote that say this, versus your articles you keep showing me that are like the lowest point, the lowest type of study. Like, they're wild. But anyway.
So that's one part of the thing I would say about that. And given that this is, and by the way, would you say that that is morally justifiable to consume animals in extreme life or death situations? Like, for example, if you were stranded on an island and you had nothing else to eat but wild boars or something.
I mean, one could make a case for consuming humans under those conditions.
They know vegans. Oh my God. These are like dumb. If these guys are such experts on vegans, why are they asking these dumb questions? No vegan is saying that they would die on a desert island rather than kill kill an animal. There was a movie I saw about this girl. She got lost. She went out sailing with her boyfriend. They got tumbled and the boyfriend died. And the girl was like alone on the boat. And she was vegan and she ate all the food. And there was they were both vegan. They were both vegan. So there's only vegan food on the boat. And she was out to sea. And she finally eventually caught a fish and she like tore it apart, and ate it. Like, in life or death circumstances, veganism goes out the window. Like, everyone knows, like there may be some extreme fringe vegans that say some dumb stuff, but that's not what the general thing is with vegans, people. Just because there's some fringies out there, they love focusing on what the fringies say. Whenever we talk to Garland, he always wants to talk about what Joey Carbstrong said, or whenever I talk to Justin Padini, he wants to talk about what some other guy, John Bob said, or something like that. They never want to address what the vegan in front of them is talking about. It's really funny.
Let's just talk about animals right now. So
humans are animals too. So you're talking about specifically non-human animals.
Yeah, we're talking about non-human animals. So I just want to know if under survival situations, an extreme survival situation, would you say that eating an animal is morally okay? Would you say yes or no to that?
I mean, I guess it would depend on the particulars, but sure, I guess there could be a scenario in which, one might find it morally justifiable.
Yeah, so if you acknowledge that, then animal consumption can be morally acceptable for human survival, would you say?
Yeah, I guess it would depend on the particulars.
Still a moral act.
Depending on what you mean by survival, but sure.
It's still a immoral act. I don't think it would be not moral, or I don't think it would be moral, even in those circumstances. But that doesn't mean you don't have,
Sure, like survival.
It's possible. Sure. Yeah.
Survival can mean different things, right? So it can mean surviving for 10 minutes, 1 hour, 10 years. Or
Versatech one says humans are not animals. Apparently unfamiliar with scientific taxonomy.
Very much so are.
Well, we're not arguing that humans are not animals. You're
Sorry, I just saw a chatter.
This is tangential. This is tangential.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so you would say that animal consumption under certain extreme life or death situation is acceptable for human survival.
Yeah,
now, but you would probably say that we are not living in extreme survival situations right now, so therefore we should be relying on like plant-based diets, right?
I mean, I guess I wouldn't be stating it that way, but sure, I guess. I mean, that's not really exactly like how I would.
Everyone should always work towards eating more plant-based.
Go ahead, yeah. We're definitely. I would agree with the proposition that if you live within 5 minutes drive of a grocery store of some type, you're not in an extreme. Anybody watching this is not in an extreme life or death situation, and and also the consumption of animal products is unethical. So I agree with both of those propositions.
However, now the vegan, in this case you, has the burden of proof to demonstrate that it is possible for humans to survive on a plant-based diet for their entire lifespan, from pregnancy until death. If I define survival as surviving for the entire lifespan from pregnancy until death. And I could also frame survival as, or consider survival on a collective scale. So humanity's survival. So the vegan also has the burden of proof to show that a plant-based diet can feed humanity intergenerationally, sustainably, globally. It is therefore the vegan who has the burden to demonstrate that eating meat is unethical and eating plants is ethical, given the asymmetry created by their attempt to shift the burden of proof and the additional considerations of survival and lifespan. So which of these premises would you reject?
Well, I mean, I think that's just like an easy reductio, which is just that you don't make moral decisions in any other context this way.
Yeah, I didn't hear your argument.
Yeah, I mean, so out of curiosity, do humans die in farming accidents?
Apparently they do so.
Okay, and humans die, like, for instance, in vehicle accidents, potentially involving trucks transporting goods and stuff. Humans die in warehouses distributing stuff.
I see where you're going with this. The animals that die in crop agriculture, most of the animals that die are like intentionally killed by human beings, not accidentally.
Okay, I mean, I guess it wouldn't. I mean, it wouldn't matter because you're.
He had no idea where he was going with that.
For instance, well, I mean, like, we could even talk about, like, for instance, like defending property, like wars and stuff. Are you saying, or like even defending property against other humans, like in self-defense? I mean, those sorts of things happen.
Yeah, I know where this is going. Let me give you a hypothetical situation,
you don't
right?
know where it's going.
And this hypothetical situation, which I'm going to give you, is actually based off some historical event.
First statement destroys everything. He said, we don't act this way in any other way as humans. We don't kill things in any other situation. Like, we're not supposed to be, at least. We do kill things, but it's wrong, To
make it actually more realistic. It's not 100% based on it. Historical example, but whatever.
Out of curiosity, is torturing an
animal
animal
look
like,
uncomfortable or nervous?
Just really enjoyed dogfighting.
You already asked that question in the last debate, but let me just give you this hypothetical first.
Well, I mean, still, like, you would have to make progress on why it is that killing an animal is okay by stabbing it in the throat, as opposed to, like, for instance, dogfighting. Like, that's still, the question still stands. Like, why would I accept your argument in the first case, but not in the second?
What about the third case?
Wait. Garland, he tries to shift the burden of proof onto us again, even though both these diets kill animals. So why is it for you okay to kill animals?
Well, I mean, you're alleging that they don't just kill animals, right? That it, like, that, like, the pesticides are actually pretty horrible towards animals, and it in fact tortures them. So I actually think that dogfighting is justified, right?
I don't see how you're getting there.
Well, I guess I don't see how you're getting from, like, for instance, like pesticides to killing animals by.
So you don't? Are you claiming that pesticides aren't manufactured and engineered intentionally to kill animals?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm still wondering what's the difference between that and dogfighting. Like, what's the difference between eating meat and dogfighting in this moral context?
What's the?
And what he should have said about the both plant-based and meat-based both kill animals. Why is it okay not for you? Why is it okay for him? He should have said, well, these are two completely separate things that are compounded when you do both. So if you only eat plants, you're only responsible for the smaller amount of crop deaths that the carnist farmers are irresponsibly letting happening on their property. And so, and if you eat meat, you also have the body count of the vegetables on top of that, because of the amount of vegetables that are raised to feed animals, which we see a huge caloric loss with. We feed animals millions of calories and only get so many back. It's completely the reason why people are starving in the world. We could be feeding everyone in the world a plant-based diet, but no, these carnists have to that are ritualistically eating meat still in 2024, claiming to be intelligent. These people are clueless.
The difference between
wait. He's asking the question about are you asserting that eating meat is the same as torturing animals? Are you asserting that, or are you just asking the question?
Well, I'm saying that there's a fundamental underlying argument that you're making here, and I'm calling that argument into question.
No, I'm not making an argument. I have the only thing that I said is that there's no special burden of proof onto the meat eaters to justify their consumption.
Oh, well, I mean, that's like trivially false. Like if you just look at like the definition of special pleading, right? That's when you make an exception without providing a justification.
Yeah.
So if you make an exception, then the burden of proof would be on you and to justify it.
But so does the
but.
Well, that goes back to the silent ninjas in your house.
Yeah.
Remember I give you that example? Right. Let's say I claim that there's silent ninjas in your house. They're just really good at predicting what room you're going to go in. I'm assuming you live in larger than a studio apartment, in which case this example doesn't work. But and so they're just always sneaking from room to room, such that you are not able to capture them. If you say I'm going to set up cameras, well, they're also tech geniuses, so they can hack into your cameras and mask themselves out. And so the question is, I mean, the burden of proof, is it like a 50-50 thing to prove that there aren't these silent ninjas living in your house? Of course not. It's absurd. And why is it absurd? Because it's an unfalsifiable proposition. Because it would require an infinite amount of knowledge. It's a proposition that's by design. Requires an infinite amount of knowledge to disprove. You'd have to be in your house everywhere at the same time.
This guy's good. I like this
Otherwise,
guy.
I could always just claim, well, they were just really good.
He's like another Nutravore.
You went up the stairs, went into one room to check, and that's when they snuck down the stairs or whatever. Right. So
who's
I could
the ninja? Who's the ninja in this analogy?
Well, I'm just saying what the point that I'm making, that I'm trying to impress upon you, is that you can make there are a whole class of propositions that you can make that are completely unfalsifiable by design. There's a global conspiracy to keep the shape of the world, hidden from us normal people. It's actually flat. That's an unfalsifiable proposition.
We know what unfalsifiable means.
Right.
Nothing I said is unfalsifiable. I said simply that.
Let me get to that. But so you agree that then if your epistemology includes needing to falsify claims that are unfalsifiable by default, that would lead to an epistemology that's completely incoherent, because you'd be forced to accept contradictory claims. Because I can make a bunch of contradictory claims that are all each unfalsifiable, and if you're forced to accept them all, then I don't know where the hell that would leave you. Right. So if a claim is unfalsifiable by default, the burden of proof would have to be on that claim. If the contradiction of that claim is highly falsifiable, right? You would just need to run into one ninja in your house, and then you would know that the claim there's no ninjas in your house is false, right? But on the other hand, you would need to be in your house everywhere all at once to know that the claim that there are ninjas in your house is false. Does that make sense?
I'm still not
sure
seeing how this is
no idea. Yeah. But okay, I just wanted to get that clear. That
very clear.
Include that we start accepting unfalsifiable.
But these meatheads have
so
no
for instance,
clue
let's say your claim is that you'll run
like
into
this.
some problem if you don't eat some animal product. I mean, I could do that with
anti-war mindset here is
run into
Garland's big guns that he's brought in. That's the smart Indian guy that's supposed to know all the review, know how to read reviews and use all this fancy debate lingo, but he's getting outclassed by this guy, this vegan, big time. he doesn't even, him and Garland have no idea what this guy's saying, even though it's very clear.
Some health problem if you don't eat whatever, oysters. I could pick anything. Or like, or some stupid subset that like I could be reasonably confident, oysters and peanut butter, that like I'd be reasonably confident that hardly anybody in their life has never eaten at least once, right? And the thing is that the space of problems that you could run into is infinitely large, right? You could have
but I'm not saying that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that like, well, that's the thing is that when you're saying that the burden of proof is on you to demonstrate that it's possible, that's possible.
No, that's like
that doesn't make
survivable.
that's incoherent.
No, it's not incoherent actually.
Okay, so what are you trying to say then?
I mean, vegans say that there's this. I mean, you acknowledge that, or you said that in non-extreme situations where there's no like survival hardship or whatever, that we should be relying on plant-based diets. You said that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, given that this is the case, but you also acknowledge that animal consumption could be morally justifiable or acceptable for human survival. That implies that it is on you to demonstrate that you can survive on a plant-based diet.
Hello.
That is not unfalsifiable. That is falsifiable.
Right.
Let's say Garland's highly scientific
any problems
response.
Some subset of things, you could always just say, well, the problem is outside of that scope. Like there is going to be a problem. Like you could just say you haven't gone through all of them.
No, it's
infinitely.
No. It's just either you can survive on a diet or you can't. It's that simple.
Right. Those are two contradictory claims. That something is it's possible or impossible.
Yeah, and you have to prove that it's possible.
In the real world, human beings have been omnivorous, and I would say to both sides that neither the vegans nor the carnivores, and I'm talking about the zero carbohydrate carnivores, neither side has provided evidence that you can survive a lifetime from pregnancy to death and reproduce.
What?
There needs to be some evidence from both sides that would look like, well, that would look like if you had someone that you could confirm their diet that had lived their entire life, were born from a vegan mother, a vegan father, lived a vegan their entire life, died eventually, had children.
How would you know that they're not
had
lying?
children? Well,
that's your problem.
That is the problem, isn't it?
Right. Yeah. So that would make it an unfalsifiable claim.
No, you can still get to that knowledge.
How?
Like we know that there are omnivores living omnivore. Like most, how do we think we know that most people on this planet are omnivores? How do you think we know
I'm
that?
not trying to claim that there's a problem on omnivory. You're trying to claim that there's a problem on veganism. Right?
No,
how can I claim that no problem exists? You're asking
No.
me.
No. You said that. How do we know that they're not actually omnivores? Right? How do we know that they're actually like vegans throughout all stages of life?
Yeah, I could just be infinitely skeptical of that claim.
Yeah,
I accept it. The burden of proof is if the burden of proof is on the vegan and I'm an omnivore, I would just say, I don't know, it's possible they're lying. Prove they're not.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
But
so it sounds like then that wouldn't falsify. If I found that person, that wouldn't falsify your claim, because regardless of whether or not you had any reason to believe they were lying, you could just claim that they were. And how the hell are you going to prove that somebody's not lying about their diet in that way?
Right.
You can't.
Well,
so that makes your claim unfalsifiable. That makes your claim so that makes your claim unfalsifiable.
But
we know that they're omnivores. That
from a practical perspective, if we're going to move the world population into a new food production system, aren't we going to answer that question before we dive into it? The whole world population at once, I mean, shouldn't maybe a small percentage of people like you, why don't you and a bunch of other men and women move to a vegan island and farm and show us how to farm veganically, produce your own food locally, eat vegan, do it for 175 years and get 3 generations. Because
why 175? Why not 500? Why not 1,000?
Longer
increasing that time.
Arbitrary.
I'm sorry. There's some problem that's going to run in. You're going to run into some problem at the 50th generation.
No,
Garland,
listen. He's talking about.
No, listen.
Garland still doesn't know how to debate.
Right now, there are
Garland
people
still
out there who
like,
are women. There's women out there who are deficient in certain vitamins. Some of them are vegans. Some of them are omnivores. Some of them might even be like carnivores, and they have deficiencies that are affecting the baby. And the baby is going to be born with a profoundly affecting birth defect that was caused by nutritional deficiency caused by dietary choices.
Plenty of vegan babies exist.
So
claim to me.
I'm a vegetarian baby.
What are you saying, that nutritional deficiencies aren't caused by diet and nutritional deficiencies don't cause birth defects?
No, nutritional deficiencies could definitely cause birth defects. I have no problem with that claim.
Okay, so what, you think that diet has nothing to do with nutritional deficiencies?
No, diet definitely has to do with nutritional deficiencies.
Okay, then there's nothing about what I said that you should be.
Yeah, so how does that get you? Then how does that get you to what's the problem on veganism? Right, your claim is that vegans should shoulder the burden of proof of demonstrating that some problem doesn't exist.
You're the vegan in the room. You're the one that you belong to a group that is confronting humanity, right or wrong.
I don't know what confronting.
Well, we're the rest of us non-vegans are busy being our carnist selves. We're not even thinking about what you're thinking about. You've confronted us, and you want to alter our behavior. You're willing to go to quite extreme measures to get that done, and you are demanding that we omit a food group or two from our diet. You are the one that's being the offensive player. We're minding our own business, and we've been confronted by veganism, and veganism is making certain demands of us.
Yeah, how much you don't like a position doesn't determine the burden of proof, nor how big of an a-hole those people are.
But you have the burden
of
proof.
Because
you have the burden of proof.
If you're the guy who's walking up demanding that everyone else change to your belief system, then you whether or not you can study debating, and there's a long list of little debate tricks that you can get, but it doesn't do anything for the animals, my friend.
What if the person that's making the demand has a falsifiable position, and the person they're making the demand of has an unfalsifiable?
Someone learned something from it. It definitely does.
Explain it. Explain yourself.
Definitely.
Who's got the falsifiable position?
Just like, I'll give you another example. Agnostic atheists. We went over this last time. Like agnostics, newer than I guess, at least in Europe, right? Definitely is like was not the mainstream culture. They were the confronting group, but I don't understand what it would mean for them to shoulder the burden of proof against an unfalsifiable claim. Or if I said that astrology is bullshit to some group of people that had worshipped astrology for thousands of years.
How about this? What if I walked up to you on the street and I stopped you and I wouldn't let you take another step, and I demand this? I want you to take off your left shoe, and I want you to walk. I want you to take off the shoe and the sock. The shoe and the sock have to come off. I'm making this. I know that it'll be better for the environment. I know it'll be better for the humans. You cannot prove that removing your left shoe and sock, and I want you to, every day, you have to dress only with a right sock and right shoe. You can never put that other one on. The world is going to be a much better place if you do it, and I demand that you do it. I demand it, and I won't take no for an answer. I won't take no for an answer, and my team of soldiers won't take no for an answer. We demand that you change. Well, you're gonna think that's gonna be a ridiculous idea, and at the very least, you're gonna say, "What is your evidence that this is going to be a better world if I walk around with one sock and shoe off?" And you say, "Well, it's
a false comparison." Say it. False comparison.
Your audio is cutting out. I don't know if that's me or
Garland's
audio
sucks
that needs to be replaced.
all the
I just learned today.
I keep on telling you to get a digital mic.
Doesn't know how to use technology.
I think I do think I have one.
I mean,
some headphones.
Anti-carnic or anti-carnist, Nick the
yeah. Well, the amount that you're being confronted or whatever, like that wouldn't have any impact on the truth or falsehood of the claim, whether or not taking off your left shoe is going to be good for the environment or not. Like that, the truth claim of that is going to be independent of whether or not I enforce that on you.
don't you think that you're the one, if you come up to me and you're telling me to take off my shoe and my sock, and I look and I can see, like in the case of crop deaths, I can see that the crop agriculture that produces the items on the vegan menu is primarily destructive and deadly monocropping. And it's reliant upon the petroleum industry, it's reliant upon the coal industry, it's reliant upon heavy tillage, which is causing climate change due to the carbon dioxide.
Yeah, to grow plants to feed cows. Corn, soy, lots of other stuff. Subsidized by our government, by our tax dollars. So we can continue eating meat even though we don't have to. Billions.
And
artificially stimulating the economy. And this guy's talking about profitability. He doesn't even know about subsidies.
Greenhouse gases that releases is causing erosion. It's causing hot convection currents that blow up into the atmosphere and decrease rainfall.
Yeah, for your
it's
cows.
Causing polluted tributaries and rivers. It's causing the oceanic dead zones. And the numbers that it's killing right now are unknown, but we do have some preliminary estimates. We know that 3.5, that a conservative estimate is 3.5 quadrillion insects killed in the United
Facts don't care about your feelings, Garland. Haven't you heard that before? Aren't you like a cool conservative guy who listens to Ben Shapiro?
States every year from pesticides. Globally,
can I? Because you're walking away with this.
Yeah,
we're still way back here.
No longer talking about.
You're not talking.
The reason I'm walking away is because I've studied this issue. The vegans keep running from the crop deaths issue. You know, they keep claiming to be caring about animals, but every time you sit down with one of them, they can't do anything but justify ignoring the crop deaths issue and ask for
the guy wants to keep the debate going, and Garland just wants to talk about. He wants to have an outburst and not continue the debate anymore. That's what Garland's saying. He doesn't like debates because he loses debates because he doesn't have. He loses every debate he gets in. He doesn't know how to debate. He doesn't understand that like it's a chain of events and there's rules and
the Garland channel to be shut so that people will know about it. And people knowing about it, and that's one of the reasons why vegans swamp me whenever I have these.
People aren't knowing about it. Garland's channel has actually lost followers in the last 3 years. I've gained followers in the last 3 years. Garland only has 400,000 views. I got like 2 million views. Like, he's not getting bigger. People aren't watching. He just is one of the lowest tree branches that any of us, if we're bored, we can hop up and smoke the guy and make a good clip of it. Like, you know, like this guy's gotten me tons of followers. He hasn't gotten any followers from having any dealings with me. And I've said his name. He won't say my name.
These live streams.
He won't link. He won't tag me in anything. I tag him in anything. I'm getting him exposure. He doesn't get me exposure. Like,
but the reason I walked away with it is
because a lot of
vegans
vegans make crappy arguments, sure.
Yeah. And so do carnivores do too. And a lot of omnivores make crappy arguments as well. But the point is that you look around and you see all this environmental destruction, you know, and me especially, because I could have chosen to do anything with this farm. I could have been a cotton farmer. I could have been an olive farmer.
He's not a farmer.
Corn, soybeans.
He's a liar.
But I looked around and
every time Garland talks about having a farm, he's lying. He doesn't have a farm. He has zero content on his farm except one video that is obviously made by like someone with a drone, like that knew production. And it's probably not even his farm. And it's like an obvious promo, like it's like Garland driving with some little girl in his old truck. Like, it's totally phony. There's no footage of Garland with any animals. Every time I confront him about it, he goes blank and won't respond to anything I say. He doesn't have a farm. He's not a farmer. He's just an anti-vegan twat.
Ethical omnivore perspective and said, what's going to regenerate the soil here? What's going to cause the least amount of animal suffering and death? What's going to help reverse climate change? And so I got into the regenerative ruminant grazing management and taught myself how to move the animals in a way that mimics the natural migration patterns, which build soil carbon. It doesn't require any pesticides.
Natural.
at all.
You were claiming that there was some
natural
problem in the
animals.
vegan diet. Like you've
The vegan diet.
you've abandoned that claim right now.
No,
You're talking about something completely different.
The vegan diet relies upon
do
monocropping.
Do you want to go back to that claim? Because your argument, we're talking about what the burden of proof is. Right?
So
now you're just talking about something completely random and different.
Garland doesn't know how to debate.
Let
He
me
just knows
talk.
how to say stuff. That's all
So
he cares about
basically, you're saying that
saying.
because I can be infinitely skeptical, that means my position is unfalsifiable. Well, we can't say the same about your position because you say that. I mean, we saw this in a last debate that we have. Like every evidence that we showed you, you were just picking, and you're basically we're saying show us the evidence that a vegan diet is impossible, which is basically asking us to prove a negative that is unfalsifiable. And you might be saying, oh, that is not unfalsifiable because proof of something being impossible is proving that something is impossible. That means it is falsifiable.
You realize that like proving the concept of proving a negative is not a coherent concept, because every negative statement can be made a positive statement by contraposition. The statement that if P then Q is the statement that if not Q then not P. Like every positive statement's a negative one by contraposition. And there are plenty of negatives you can prove.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can prove that there's no round
go
squares, for
nowhere.
instance. That's easy. Like there are plenty of papers that show that if P then Q. I've written some of them in physical chemistry, nutrition science, but I mean this happens all the time. There's plenty of papers like that.
Isn't that a different category? There's no round squares.
Yeah, that would be like a logical contradiction, but you could show like a physical contradiction. That's not impossible. That's not
give me a one.
You can't reduce oxygen on thiolated gold all the way. The 4-electron reduction. That's an easy one. I mean, there's all kinds of ones. You can show all kinds of problems.
Can you do one that's less? I'm
less
not
esoteric.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm trying to think of like just a very pedestrian example of like
something stupid meat eater would understand.
You can't. I don't know, like that. A car can't generate sufficient lift in order to achieve flight. A standard Toyota Corolla. How about that? Under normal driving conditions, right? You would just. I mean, I guess it would be tough to publish that as a paper because it would be like a well, duh, right? But you could show finite element simulations and calculate the amount of what the drag coefficient is under like certain conditions and demonstrate conclusively that the quantity of force is just like the quantity of force of a Toyota Corolla is just.
I don't think this is going to go anywhere. I think I'm going to bounce. I think I'm going to leave you with this. Woo! This guy here. Peace.
Welcome, one and all. I'm Mark Passio of whatonearthishappening.com. It's great to be part of the Seed 4 virtual conference here today. I want to thank Brandon Martin and Nate Kapp for hosting the event and for inviting me to speak. My presentation here today is entitled Fake Ass Anarchists. And this is a presentation I've wanted to deliver for quite a long time. I think it's incredibly important that people in the anarchist community and in the freedom movement in general understand the fake forms of anarchy that are out there and operating as what I would consider one big psyop to try to prevent the understanding of what anarchy really is from propagating to the public at large. And I'll be explaining more about that as we delve into the presentation. I only have a couple of quick caveats before I begin. As I do with most of my presentations, this is largely for the internet viewing audience. There is nothing new under the sun. You will not be seeing or hearing anything completely new here today. An ancient saying goes, there is nothing new under the sun. This means that truth is objective and eternal. It has always been here and it always will be here. All that I can do as a presenter is to present this information in the form of a personalized framework with my particular style and aesthetics applied. Now, that being said, You'll also be getting my personality as I deliver this presentation. And I always tell people you want to put that to the side as much as you can, and you want to focus on the information only and the veracity of that information. So if you are a person who considers themselves easily offended, this presentation is not for you. And I make no bones about that. So none of my work at any point, at any time, anywhere you find my work, is for the babies among humanity. None of it is for the babies. Okay, the easily offended, or in other words, those who don't really want to hear the hard truth spoken in an unapologetic way. If that describes you, and if you're a person who wants to cling to your beliefs regardless of what the truth happens to be, then you shouldn't bother with this work right now. You should come back to it at a later time when you've matured enough, when you've matured to a state of mind that resembles psychological adulthood, true psychological adulthood. Then my work might have some positive impact on you. But if the mindset of easily offended describes you right now, you're probably wasting your time even watching this and trying to glean anything from it. And people will often say, Mark, why do you start your presentations harshly like that with people? They won't even want to watch it. Well, that's fine. I often disclose such a hardcore caveat before beginning my presentations, already knowing in advance that this might turn people away from even listening to what I have to say. And I do this not because I'm attempting to, get the wishy-washy on my, I'm not attempting to get the wishy-washy on my side. I'm not attempting to be soft on people and get people just to watch it. Okay. If I really didn't care a lot about my work, I would probably do something like that. I would try to just get numbers. I want people who are ready to hear this, who will accept the truth, not because I've said it, but because they've applied reason and critical thinking skills to what's being talked about, so that they themselves can arrive at the correct conclusion. And I explain this to people because, you may be the people who, can hear it like that. You can hear it said in a harsh way. You've just not discovered this information up until the current point. You have only now come across anybody telling you the truth like this. That's who I'm putting it out there for. I'm not putting it out there for people who aren't ready to accept it, don't want to know it, etc. If you're that kind of person, go back to sleep, and this probably isn't going to do much for you. But I also put this truth out in the world in this way because this acts as a fulfillment of my own personal moral obligation to speak the truth that I have learned in the tyrannical times in which we live, which are rapidly growing more tyrannical. So let's begin this presentation today with basic definitions. Definitions exist for a reason. Words have meanings. And let's break down some basic definitions of terms that will be used throughout this presentation. So when we talk about anarchy, what do we actually mean? What is meant by anarchy for the duration of this presentation? The English word anarchy is derived from the Greek prefix an. They're written in Greek print in parentheses there. And the prefix an means without, the absence of, not present. And then the second part of the word anarchy comes from the Greek noun archon. They're written in Greek in parentheses there, in Greek characters. And archon means ruler or master in ancient Greek. So when we put these together, we arrive at the term anarchon, the absence of rulers, the absence of masters, without rulers, without masters. Anarchy does not mean without rules. Those who think that it means without rules or anything goes do not know what real anarchy is. Anarchy as a word literally means, from its etymological origins, without rulers. So anarchy means no rulers, no masters, or in other words, the state of true freedom, where one is not ruled by others through violence, coercion, or duress. And that is, in fact, what I call the real world definition of anarchy. The real world definition is a state of existence in which individuals are not ruled or enslaved by others and are free to exercise their natural rights unrestrained by violence, duress, or coercion. This state of human existence, the state of existence in general, can only be created and maintained via behavioral alignment to objective morality through a deep understanding of natural law. So, most people will not give you this anarchy, even in the anarchist community. Will not give you this definition, even within the anarchist community or the freedom community, because they don't understand how anarchy is created. They don't understand, in other words, how true freedom, which is what anarchy is created in our world. So as I said there, the state of anarchy can only be created and maintained via behavioral alignment to objective morality, meaning choosing and aligning one's behavior with actions which do not initiate harm to other sentient beings. And you can only do that through a deep understanding of natural law. So the real world definition of anarchy is that freedom can only be created when the population behaves in a moral capacity. Morality is the actual dynamic that creates freedom. That is what anarchy really is. If we're being honest with ourselves and if we are correct and we have the correct definition, that is the correct definition of what anarchy really is. It's not just the state whereby people are not ruled. It is the state by people are not ruled because they have aligned their behavior to objective morality under natural law, because they themselves understand the dynamic that morality is what creates freedom. That is my definition of anarchy, and that is the correct definition of anarchy. That is what anarchy actually is in the realm of nature. In the real world, matter-of-fact realm of nature, that is what anarchy is and how it operates, whether anyone understands it or agrees with that definition or not. That is the definition of what anarchy actually is. So when we're talking about natural law, what do we mean by that statement? Well, first, it doesn't mean Darwinism. It doesn't mean survival of the fittest. It doesn't mean the natural order as postulated by Darwinism and those who think like that, as a dog-eat-dog world. That is not what natural law is. So what is natural law as we are talking about it here in this presentation? Natural law is a set of universal, inherent, objective, non-man-made, eternal and immutable conditions which govern the consequences of behaviors of beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. Yes, that's a mouthful. But if we take it in turn, universal means everywhere existent in the universe. Inherent means it is in nature. It is not created by anything that is done by human beings or any other beings. It is inherent to nature. It is objective, meaning it is not subjective and open to interpretation or open to whether we want to believe in it or not. It is not open to our opinion or whim. It is objective. It exists external to perception. It is non-man-made. It's not created by humanity. It exists because creation exists. It exists inherently in the universe. It exists as part of nature. It is eternal. It can never be out of effect. It has been in effect since the beginning of the universe, and it will be in effect for as long as the universe exists. And it is immutable. These conditions are immutable, these laws. That means that they can never be changed by anyone or anything. Any process that anyone tries to undertake, they can never be changed because they are set in place by creation itself. So that's what we're talking about. And these conditions govern the consequences of behaviors. They are the laws of behavioral consequence, karmic laws, cosmic universal moral laws, the laws of God, whatever you want to word it as. You can word it any way you want, but that is what they are. They are the laws that govern the behavioral consequences of the behaviors that we as human beings choose. They apply to beings with the capacity for understanding the difference between right and wrong, the difference between harmful and non-harmful behaviors. The understanding of natural law is centered upon bringing our own conscience, our knowledge of the objective difference between right and wrong behavior, into alignment with objective morality, the objective difference between behaviors which do initiate harm to other sentient beings and those which do not initiate harm to other sentient beings. So this means definitively knowing which behaviors are which behaviors are rights because they do not initiate harm to others, and which behaviors are wrongdoings, are transgressions against natural law because they do initiate harm to other sentient beings. This is what we mean by what natural law is and how it operates in the world, and why it is so important that human beings know what natural law is and the difference between harmful and non-harmful behavior. If we don't have that as a framework of knowledge under our belt, we can never create true freedom, because true freedom is hinged upon behaving in harmony with natural law, behaving in harmony with objective morality. That is what creates freedom. So this is the natural law of freedom, as I call it. When human beings in the aggregate, meaning in the collective sense as a species, live in harmony with natural law and are therefore moral, they become and remain free. When human beings in the aggregate live in opposition to natural law and are therefore immoral, they become and remain enslaved. I personally refer to this dynamic of natural law as the law of freedom. Or in other words, as aggregate morality increases, aggregate freedom increases. And as aggregate morality declines, freedom declines. The aggregate freedom of the whole species declines as aggregate morality declines. This is how natural law functions in the real world. This is a real world definition of the law of freedom and how it works in our world. Most anarchists do not understand this. Most human beings do not understand this and refuse to accept it. And that's why we're in the situation that we're in as a species. That's why we're going into total tyranny and abject slavery. Right versus wrong is the entire crux of the matter. So a right, as we defined it in the last slide, is an action that does not initiate harm to another sentient being. True anarchy can only manifest when whole populations align their behavior to natural law, the universal moral laws of creation. Therefore, anarchy can only be created through a correct understanding of objective morality. If you do not understand objective morality, you cannot create the state of anarchy. It is an impossibility. Right behavior is also that which is correct. That is why it is so important to get it right, to be correct about our definitions and our understanding about these dynamics. Right does not just mean moral, it means correct as in based in truth, that it is not incorrect, that it is not wrong as an answer. Okay? You know, when asked the right question, you want to get the answer correct. This is the exact same thing. This is why we are talking about it is so important to have the correct answer about what generates freedom. So right not only means moral, it means correct. And of course, as we've already talked about, it means moral in the sense that actions which are in harmony with natural law, because they are rights, do not initiate harm to other sentient beings. Whereas if we are wrong, both incorrect, not having the correct answer, not being based in truth, our actions will go awry and become immoral actions, which are in opposition to natural law because they do initiate harm to other sentient beings. For more information on natural law, the law of freedom, the difference between right and wrong, the transgressions against natural law, questions about any given behavior, I highly recommend people check out my natural law seminar. Obviously, we can't repeat the whole seminar here today. I have to give the basics, as working definitions before we move on into further material. But if you want to look further into natural law, I did a close to 9-hour seminar on the topic called Natural Law, the Real Law of Attraction and How to Apply It in Your Life. And if you haven't seen that, you absolutely need to. That is my magnum opus. That is the absolute heart of all of my work. Okay, so let's move on to what it means to be an anarchist in name only. And this is very important. I gave a presentation called Fake Ass Christians back in 2017, which I'll be mentioning, that talked about what is a Christian in name only. It's somebody that is pretending to be something. They're inauthentic. They're a fake. They're saying one thing, but then their behavior betrays what they're saying that they are. So let's look at this dynamic, because I don't think many people really understand when you use the term in name only what you mean. The phrase in name only means not the real thing. Many people may have heard this in political circles, Republicans in name only, Democrats in name only. I used it in the sense of Christians using the term in name only, and here I'm using it to mean anarchists in name only. There are people who are wearing a mask, as seen in the depiction there. Anyone can claim to be something, but in reality, if that person's thoughts and behaviors do not align with what they claim to be, they're most certainly not what they claim to be. They are, in fact, inauthentic beings. They are fakes. They are frauds. But sadly, most people fail to understand this dynamic or recognize that it is taking place in just about every aspect of human life. Just because someone says that they are something, and then maybe they want to take the symbols of that, movement or that dynamic or that philosophy and use it as their own, doesn't mean they're that thing. Anybody can slap an A in a circle on themselves, call themselves an anarchist, and not be an anarchist. Just like anyone can hang a Christian cross pendant around their neck and not represent what Christianity is supposed to represent. The same is true for anarchists and anarchy in general. So just because someone says there's something doesn't automatically make them that, nor should we trust that they are that. Again, by your deeds, you shall know them. That's the whole point. Understand what people are behaving like. That is what they are. That is what they are bringing forth and manifesting in the world. They're manifesting the world through their behaviors, not what they say they are. Okay? So that's very important to keep this in mind as we step through the presentation, to understand these are people just claiming that they're anarchists. Even they may believe that they are, but they do not have the correct understanding of anarchy in their own minds. And so their behaviors are going to go awry and go askew and often even be immoral. Okay? And they could advocate for immoral things. And that is because they are claiming to be something, but they don't even in their own minds often have the correct definition. That's why that definition section at the beginning of this presentation is so important to get correct. And those are the correct definitions. Okay? It's not my opinion about the definitions of those things. That's how they really are in the real world of nature, and that's how they really work in the natural domain. So moving forward, we're talking about people who just are using the word anarchy, basically. They're using the word in an incorrect capacity, and then they'll even use the symbol in an incorrect capacity, which is one of the reasons I say we need to take back the word anarchy, and we need to take back the symbol of anarchy, and we need to apply it to what it really means, not what other idiots out there are claiming that it means, and living a completely inauthentic life, with a mask on, pretending to be something that they are absolutely not, that they don't even understand in most cases. So again, I gave a presentation back in 2017 called Fake Ass Christians, where I exposed people who are Christian in name only and claim to be Christian, yet they're not really living the words of Jesus in the New Testament. They're not living any type of authentic Christian life. They're just claiming to be Christian. I call it churchianity. It's one of the terms I applied to it in this presentation, or Constantinianity, after Emperor Constantine, who unified Christianity under, the banner of the Roman Empire. Again, anybody can call themselves anything. There's Freemasons in name only. Okay? There's Rosicrucians in name only. There's Kabbalists in name only and occultists in name only. They don't really have the core principles. They don't have the core philosophy down, but they call themselves whatever they want to call themselves, even though they don't understand it fully and live it fully. The same is true for anarchists. So let's talk about who the fake ass anarchists are. Now, I am going to delve into in this presentation the types of hyphenated anarchy, but not as much as you might think. Okay. This presentation, one, is going to be a significant amount of review of philosophy, of morality, of natural law, and helping people to understand why this is so important to understand it, get it right, and really apply that to anarchy. That's the core philosophy of real anarchy. But I am going to spend a little bit of time on the fake anarchist factions. It is important enough to at least understand what the factions are, what they call themselves, and what their basic ideologies are. However, I am not going to delve into their to a great extent, into their 3D worldly philosophies. What I'm really going to get into is what their whole psychological makeup and their ideologies that go even beyond political ideologies really are. Okay? I'm going to go into what has completely led them askew and astray of real anarchy. All the ways that they are under mind control, all the ways that their thought process is actually leading them into a deeper state of bondage and enslavement instead of toward real freedom, which is what they claim they want. So this section is called, in double quotes, anarchist factions, and hyphenated and in double quotes, anarchism. Okay, because they're not really these things. They just claim that they're these things. So let's look at some different categories of anarchists. I'm not going to take the time to break down totally slide by slide each separate faction. I'm kind of grouping them into what I consider large categories of factions. Okay, so first and foremost, you have the left-wing anarchists. These are the most prominent of the fake anarchists, at least among the community of people who sort of does really understand what anarchism and anarchy really is all about. This is like the most popular aspect of fake anarchy, the left-wing branch of so-called anarchism. It's not anarchy, folks. It's not anarchism. This is anarchism wrapped in double quotes. Please wrap it in a healthy dosage of double quotes, okay? So the examples, and as I've also, even in their names, like anarcho-communism, anarcho-syndicalism, etc., I am wrapping the word anarcho in double quotes to express this is a completely false representation of what anarchy is. So some examples of the left-wing factions of anarchy are anarcho-communism, anarcho-syndicalism, black bloc anarchists, so-called anarchists, and of course the ever-present and popular Antifa, standing for anti-fascism, anti-fascist, which they're nothing of the sort either. So some of the ideologies of these types of left-wing anarchist factions include, but are not limited to, the following ideologies: Marxism, socialism, communism, and going hand in hand with those, the abolition of capitalism, the abolition of private property, the abolition of wage labor, so-called collective ownership. I put ownership in double quotes because if something is collective ownership, it's not owned. Only the person who is deciding what can be done with property is the actual owner. So you can't really have collective ownership. But they want collective ownership of the means of production of goods and services, which really means you're handing it to the state at any given time. Collective ownership would be mob rule mentality. And this is often the mentality of leftists in general, certainly of so-called left-wing anarchism. Overall, you know, all of these different factions or categories of anarchists that I'm going to be talking about here today, they believe that something is the problem that isn't really the problem. They just believe that in their own minds. They have this thing that they attack, that they want destroyed, that they want abolished from the world, and they believe that abolishing it will create true freedom. Well, in the left-wing fake anarchist faction, they believe that capitalism is the real problem and that abolishing capitalism will create true freedom. It's a ridiculous ideology. It's based in things that are actual slavery and totalitarian leading ideologies that lead to total control over whole society, lead to totalitarianism, like Marxism, communism, socialism, etc. And they don't have an understanding of rights. You know, they identify themselves, as Marx tried to identify human beings with, as workers. Imagine this is your life's goal. This is what you want to identify yourself as. And we're going to talk about identification, identity politics, identity personalities, you know, just pure ego identification of identifying with a role or with a group. And they're poster children for that dynamic. And once again, anybody identifying on this side of anarchy, get as offended as you like by what I'm saying here. You can get as offended as you like. It's still not going to make what I'm saying untrue. Conversely, I'm going to go and start to attack the right-wing factions of anarchy next. They could feel as equally free to get as offended as they like. What I'm going to say about that will also be true, and you could get as offended about it as you want, and it will never make it untrue. So, this stems out of left-wing partisan politics, and these people believe that they've transcended that, yet they've adopted some of the same mentalities, ideologies, political thoughts that have basically led to the decimation of whole populations and the genocide of, over 200 million people in the last century alone. But, they want to believe that, they're accurate and they've identified with something that is good and pure and wholesome. They'll never be true. It'll never be true. They'll never be correct about it. But yet, they have bought into it. They've made it their identity. And part of what I'm going to talk about here today is admission that you're wrong about something. Most people in any of these factions are never going to want to do that. They want to insist that they're correct and they got it and they learned all the information they need to know. And let me tell you something, little boys and girls, you don't have enough information. You got off the train before it even left the station when information is concerned. Okay. You think you have the world figured out. You don't have anything figured out. You have a little pissant droplet in the bucket. Okay. That's what you got. All right. Your little children in your mentality thinking that Marx is some kind of a savior when he's leading you into a total cage. That's what's really going on. You're being groomed for bondage and groomed for chattel slavery. Okay, because you think you have it figured out. You think you studied enough. You think you learned the answers. You didn't learn shit. Okay, you're still little children that haven't even gotten past the preface of the book, let alone read the whole thing. Let's put it that way. And you have a lot to learn and a lot of growing to do to understand how it really works. Because your spiritual children, your spiritual infants, in your understanding of how things really work in the real world. Infants. And you can't admit that to yourself. You can't admit that you don't have enough information. It's part of the dynamic I'm going to talk about later. But these people identify with left-wing factions like socialism and communism and actually believe those are good things. They actually believe that concentrating the production of goods and services into the hands of the state or into the hands of the collective, as they claim, is somehow going to lead to freedom. Private property, private means of production, free markets, that to them, that's anathema, and that's what they want to abolish. And they actually believe that'll lead to freedom. Believe it or not, some of those people are so dumb, they actually believe that will lead to true freedom. As fake as the day is long, ladies and gentlemen, but good luck telling them that, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to listen. They want to believe that they're right, and they want to play grown-up when in fact they're infants. Here's some more people who have gone a little bit further in their understanding, but not all the way. This is close but no cigar. Set up the tent 3/4 of the way up the mountain and forget reaching the summit. Right-wing anarchism. Some examples, and again, I'm not talking about any just one faction. These are general breakdowns of categories of so-called anarchists. And again, if people thought that I was going to go easy on the ANCAPs, think again, because they don't have the understanding down either. They think that they do, and they have a long way to go in their understanding. So, some of the, anarcho factions here are anarcho-capitalism, voluntarism, agorism, etc. Their ideologies include free market economics, voluntary interaction, and freedom of association. And not that those things are bad, all right? That's a good start. I basically believe in those things as well. I don't identify with these groups. One could call me a voluntarist, but I'm not talking about the voluntarist in the political sense that a lot of the people who identify with these groups and symbols do, because I understand that natural law is the only way that true freedom can be created, not just voluntary interaction alone. A deep understanding of natural law as inherent to creation and as really the laws of creation and the laws of God, if you will. So they believe free markets and voluntary interaction alone will create true freedom. I think it involves much more than that. I call this ideology close but no cigar. You got some of the basic things right, like the non-aggression principle, free markets, voluntary interaction. You got that right? But I call this the close but no cigar factions of anarchism, because natural law and spirituality is almost always left out of the discussion. Okay, they leave natural law and spirituality out of the discussion because they don't want to sound like they're a religion. Natural law isn't a religion. Spirituality isn't a religion. You can be spiritual and religionless. You can understand natural law and be religionless. I consider natural law a science of morality, not a religion. So a lot of these groups are also atheistic and materialistic, purely political, purely financial. That's why they don't get it all the way. They're not real anarchists, in my opinion. And in my definition, I would not group these people as real anarchists. As difficult as that may be for some people out in the listening audience to hear, and as much as you might get offended at that statement, then go right ahead and get as offended as you want. It's still true. This isn't real anarchy. It's very close to what real anarchy is, but it misses the mark, because the people who subscribe to these, because they are secular, worldly, materialistic, only want to talk about financial and political power. They never want to talk about natural law and true spirituality. And that's why they're never going to get to an understanding of how real freedom is generated. They don't understand the generative principle. They don't understand aligning one's conscience with natural laws of morality is the only path to freedom. And that can sound dogmatic. You could say, I'm dogmatic about that all you want. But guess what? Gravity works a certain way. Electromagnetism works a certain way. All the laws of nature and dynamics work a certain way, and so do the laws that govern behavior of human beings. They work a certain way, and there's either knowing it or not knowing it. You have either identified how the dynamic, and you know it, or you don't know how the dynamic operates, and you're ignorant of it. Those who know it can align their behavior to it and get the result that they want, if enough people do that. And those who don't know it, whatever reason they're ignorant of it for, they're going to continue to create unconsciously and get results that they do not want. That is how it really works in the real world. And right-wing anarchism is just as guilty as any other factions. So sorry to burst people's bubble on that, but what I just said there is the truth. And you got to look into it way deeper than the levels that you're looking into this as just a political and financial, mechanism. You're just analyzing the political and financial mechanisms. You're never going to get to the heart or the crux of what's really going on by looking there. You got to get to the spiritual heart of it. You got to get to the moral heart of it. If you don't get to those levels of understanding and understanding these are laws that are set forth by a higher power than humanity, you're never going to understand the dynamics that generate true freedom. You'll get close. You'll get it'll be like a religion. This will be almost like some traditional religious dogma that can get people to an understanding, a basic understanding of morality, where they'll be like the kind of people that are like, I treat people nice and kindly and don't do bad things to people because Jesus said so, right? This is like that to what religion is to real morality, right? To a real understanding of natural law, one needs no religion if one has a deep, real understanding of natural law, okay? This is like the anarchists that are like the Christians who say, I won't do bad and evil things just because I don't want to go to hell, right? They have a very rudimentary understanding of basic morality, but it's lacking in many ways. And the same is true for a lot of these groups, sadly. Not all of them. Some people within these groups get it, but they're just still identifying with the group dynamic of hyphenated anarchy, instead of understanding there's only anarchy with no hyphenations that is based on natural law. There is nothing else other than that in nature. All of these things I'm explaining here in this factions section, these are just constructs that exist in the mind. These are groupings and constructs that exist only in the human mind. The form of anarchy that I'm talking about, that I defined in the definition section, that one exists in nature. That's the real state of existence that exists within the natural world that we want to get back to. There really is the only true state of nature that human beings should be living in. Yet we have created the illusion, through the illusion of our belief in authority, we have created slavery for ourselves instead of the freedom that is the natural state called anarchy, of no rulers. Let's move on to the next faction, or category, I really should call this. These are categories of fake-ass anarchists. I call this category the left-brained anarchists. This is left-brained anarchism. Some of the examples of the left-brain anarchists are anarcho-egoism, anarcho-transhumanism. Yes, there is such a thing. Their ideologies include, but are not limited to, pure egotism, makes right mentality, Newtonian materialism, transhumanism, and many other ideologies. You know, replacing parts of human beings with technology like a cyborg. They are driven by scientism and left brain imbalance. So here, the dynamic that I'm really talking about is these are left brain imbalanced people. They are people who are completely trapped in ego mentality, in physical world identification, in might makes right mentality, in materialism, in secularism, and in pure, total technology used of control way for purposes that it is not intended. So they are driven by that type of left brain imbalance. They often display a lack of morality and almost entirely display a lack of spirituality, a total lack of spirituality. These different left brain factions, regardless of what they are, believe that either selfishness and or technology will create true freedom. See, there's always something that needs to go and then something that needs to be fostered, right? So like in the left wing factions, political left-wing factions, think that capitalism needs to go and shared ownership needs to be implemented of everything, right? This left-brain anarchist faction believe that selfishness is going to get us there. Replacing humanity with technology is going to get us there to true freedom. Human beings basically need to go to the wayside and technology needs to replace them. That's the anarcho-transhumanist mentality. The anarcho-egoism is, it's all just purely egoic and individual identifying, and nothing is above the self. There are no laws higher than the self. Everything is just toward the self, me, me, me. And it's my rights because I say it is this way. It's ridiculous. Anarcho-egoism could be called Satanism. For all intents and purposes, it's basically the same mentality. And that's not going to get you to true freedom. That's going to get you exactly where we're at now, in a cage, in a world of slavery and bondage. Living a life that's purely egoic like that. Let's move on. So now we have the right-brained factions of anarchism. Converse to the left-brained factions, these people are highly in right-brain imbalance in their mentality and ideologies. Some examples include, but are not limited to, anarcho-primitivism and anarcho-pacifism. And, I just like left-brained factions of anarchy, I completely am in disagreement with the right-brain factions. They're as equally imbalanced and equally wrong. There's no less shortage of being incorrect about how freedom is generated, what needs to go, what needs to stay. They're all just completely wrong. That's the whole problem. You didn't you didn't follow through the logical steps of the trivium process enough to get it actually right, figure out what does create true freedom, and then align yourself to that truth. You just followed through what you already thought was going on in your own head, and then you bought into the faction that, pleased your pre-existing thoughts and whims. That's how this often works, okay? So their ideologies include, but are not limited to total rejection of technology, the abolition of all land ownership, and the rejection of the self-defense principle, as is the case with anarcho-pacifism, which I consider a completely deplorable ideology. Self-defense is one of the two pillars of natural law understanding. It's one of the two pillars of true spirituality. You can't understand the non-aggression principle and not understand the self-defense principle if you really want to get both of them right. Non-aggression principle is do not initiate harm to other sentient beings. The self-defense principle is when harm is initiated against yourself or others, you have the right to defend yourself with physical force up to and including deadly force to stop that aggression. Very simple, absolutely true principles that cannot be left at the door and you can't not understand them in their fullness if you're going to be a true anarchist. They have to be deeply understood in their completeness and fullness, the two pillars of enlightenment, which are the two pillars of anarchy, the non-aggression principle and the self-defense principle. Those are the pillars of natural law. And again, these people in these factions of right-brained anarchism, so-called, believe that technology and or self-defense must be abolished to create true freedom. So to them, living in nature without any technology is the answer, and technology is the enemy, that's the devil, and that's what must be abolished. In the case of the anarcho-pacifists, any physical use of force is the enemy and must be abolished. Of force. They would never lift a finger to defend themselves, even if a conscienceless, ruthless enemy were at the gates, and that's a completely deplorable self-loathing ideology. That both of these things stem from being in the right brain. Not enough balance in left and right brain hemispheres. These people are completely in the right brain, don't want any technology and or won't stand up for themselves. So you could see how different forms of imbalance lead people into different factions. The right brain go into factions like this, the left brain go into transhumanist and egoist, and then the left and right wing political factions, they break down the same way based on brain imbalance. It's all imbalance within the self. Speaking of which, let's look at the next one, which is what I call no-brained anarchism. Well, we had left brain and right brain. This is what I call no-brain anarchism because these people are total fucking idiots. Okay? These are people who think that anarchy means chaos. They're people who bought into the notion that the PSYOP mainstream media told them anarchy means chaos. And then they believe that's a good thing. Okay? Because they don't want to be ruled by other people. And they actually believe we should just have chaos. They're nihilists. They're little spiritual infantile children is what they really are. So the example are nihilist anarchists, people who believe in nothing and are proud of that. Oh, I represent nothing. I believe in nothing. It's just all, everything's here everything is purposeless. The universe is purposeless. There's no point in even believing in anything. I mean, what a fool's mentality. What a child. It's a child. It's not a man's mentality. It's not a woman's mentality. It's a little bratty child with their arms crossed like that. That's what this really is. That's what almost really all of these anarchist factions are. It's really the hallmarks